Direction, choose your own path.
You know this is the home of We Major, Me Frosty, Unfamous, and the restricted clothing brands. Let's get it.
The message is always in the cloth, the colors, the designs, the fit. Basic. Pay attention. Stay alert. And remember, choose your own path.
Direction, choose your own path.
Don't just wear anything. Wear garments that mean something. We got hats. We got sweatshirts. We got jackets. We even got hoodies. Let's not forget our classic tees. Direction, choose your own path.
The message is always in the cloth, the colors, the designs, the fit. Basic. Pay attention. Stay alert. And remember, choose your own path.
This Might Be Risky sponsorship package is here. Have your ad run on our live streaming episodes, linked in the video description and attached to our many hot take clips. The channel is fast growing with thousands of views and subscribers. Don't miss your chance to grow your business on one of the fastest growing platforms on YouTube. Join the family today. This Might Be Risky. Email us at thismightberisky@gmail.com if interested. Hashtag Indeed, hashtag Do the Right Thing.
Stay blessed, my nigga. Positive vibes, positive vibes. No stress, my nigga. Cut that shit out of your life. Oh, cut a motherfucker off. We too fresh to be on sucker shit. Oh, I'm about $1. Pray my niggas prosper. I'm a blessed motherfucker. Holla. Stay blessed, my nigga. Positive vibes, positive vibes. No stress, my nigga. Cut that shit out of your life. Oh, cut a motherfucker off. We too fresh to be on sucker shit. Oh, I'm about $1. Pray my niggas prosper. I'm a blessed motherfucker. Holla. friend to tell a friend. DJ HAMP about to go live again. So hit the likes, my friend, on your way in. First off, salute the chat. And to all new cousins, welcome back. Heard you searching for the real, well, this is where it's at. The latest topics and panels, and brother, don't get sent to the bathroom. We got all the stats, to back the facts in the morning or the afternoon. Tuesday, women's POV, 2 Fridays, dancing, jamming tune. It's a community of real, and we better than the world news. This might be risky, I hope you know. This might be risky, let's go, let's go. This might be risky, no, I love you, real, I love it. This might be risky. Salute to DJ HAMP, it's time to start the show. Salute to DJ HAMP, it's time to start the show.
It's a stampede! DJ HAMP, the stampede. DJ HAMP, the stampede.
Yo, check. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. DJ HAMP, the stampede, we in the building. Risky Midday was popping, man.
Perfect.
Salute to the 70 people in the chat already. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. Please hit the subscribe button. Let me see you in the chat real quick. And we get it popping, man. Fishing a fit in the building. E-Dub was popping. Soul Brother was goody. My brother D Majesty, salute. Trey, what up, kid? Good to see you. Vet Life in the building. OG Vet Life was popping. Aaron Shalawam, Savage Comments. Salute. Hope all is well. Jay Beezy was popping. I ain't see you yesterday. Hope everything's everything. Riri was popping. Soulzon in the building. OG Black America in the building. Good morning, man. Marcus Evans was popping. Good brother. See you. Hope all is well. The Curly Scholar. Good morning. My brother Reese was goody. Angel, salute. Strada, what up, Aki? Good to see you. SPS Podcast in the building. Please go like, share, and subscribe. Saw putting in work. That's always a blessing. Let me see. Night by behaving. That's always good. Jamie was popping. Mr. JTK in the building. Aaron, Shalawam, what's good? Ak, good to see you. Rebecca, salute. Audie was shaking, my G. Homeboy Blaze in the building. Shalom, Ak. Fo in the building. Fo put them tunes down. If you need one, please contact Fo. You can contact me. I'll get you in contact with Fo. You heard? Let's get it popping. Impress, what's good? Did I see you yesterday, Impress? I'm not sure. Tequila, good morning. Good to see you, man. Fat Boy, what up? What's popping? Hope all is well. Hope everything's everything. Leon, thank you for resharing the stream to your story on IG. I greatly appreciate that. Quincy was popping. Good shit in the workout room as always. Impress putting in work. Waverly, salute. Indeed. Appreciate you, man. Welcome. Let's lock in. Welcome to the family. Nightbot. Oh, all right. Talk to Nightbot. Let's get it. Let me see. Did I get everybody? My brother Darius was shaking. Good to see you. Oh, Shay was popping. Salute. Miss Bell's in the building. Melly Mel, top of the morning. What's that? Maul the Master Barber. Salute. Yeah, man. 100%. CC was goody. Yo, SQ Biz was popping. Good to see you. Was goody. Black was popping. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Tyson was shaking. Love C in the building, man. Appreciate you. Love C getting the cousins together. Callie putting in work. Thomas was good. Good to see you. Heather in the building. T, top of the morning. Salute. Night Ish was popping, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. You know, I played this video, right? And I'm not sure when that video came out. You know, we got a few people. I'll play it again. But it's the differentiation. And we had this conversation a few different times about like who business is it that the ICE thing is happening to the illegals or naturalized citizens and etc. You know, it was a big conversation about do Black Americans, let's just use the acronyms, whether it's the ADOS thing, the Black Americans, the FBA, should we get involved? Should we care? is this any of our business? Because it was always said, when we was going through things, most people either stayed out of it, didn't come to our aid, et cetera, et cetera. That's just the sentiments that were shared. So this video kind of encompasses those sentiments. But I wanted to dive deeper into the ICE, the agents, and how they go about things. And now we see, I got to say his name up there because it turns out a Black American man was killed by an off-duty ICE agent, But does this encompass the sentiment that you heard largely from so-called Black Americans or FBA, whatever the case is, regarding the tactical pressure being put on people who are potentially illegal or from different countries?
Stay blessed, my nigga. Positive vibes, positive vibes. No stress, my nigga. Cut that shit out of your life. Ooh. Cut a motherfucker off. We too fresh to be on sucker shit. Ooh. I'm about $1. Pray my niggas prosper. I'm a blessed motherfucker. Holla.
So, interestingly, what happens, in these situations? Are the ICE agents being kind of mixed in with the agents that, were policing the different cities? Like when we had the influx of the federal agents in DC, you have the National Guard out there. Can you differentiate those people who do that job from the ICE agents? Do you remember the building in Chicago that was raided? They said that there was a large illegal immigrant populace from El Salvador, if I'm not mistaken, in a building in Chicago. But every single person who lived in that building was accosted, and people were arrested during these raids, people that were Black American that weren't illegal, but because they detained everybody and they start running criminal reports and such, people were arrested who had warrants and things of that nature. But that wasn't the objective of ICE going into that building. So when we're having this conversation, as said in that video, it's like, hey, remember when y'all had black fatigue? Remember when we was going through stuff? If only we would have complied, et cetera, et cetera. And now a Black man gets killed by ICE. So I did a little bit of research, and I'm going to drop the link so you guys can help me just mine through this. ICE's military personnel, from what I gathered, if you're expecting them to police how police, you fooling yourself. You're being willfully obtuse to expect a certain type of disposition from them. They are not community policing, and it's going down. How long has ICE been dispatched? Like, how long have they been on a job in this capacity at this volume? Because I just looked up a few different stories. Obviously, we covered the one with the white lady yesterday. She isn't an illegal, but she lost her life in the middle of the ICE, trying to do their job, and we still minded through that. But I just looked at a few different stories about people being killed by ICE. Let's take a look. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most.
Villegas Gonzalez, who DHS says was the undocumented immigrant killed by an ICE officer near Chicago, calling the 38-year-old a devoted father, cherished friend, and kind soul. The sound of Friday's gunshots caught on a nearby surveillance camera. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE saying the officer fired as he feared for his life after Villegas Gonzalez from Mexico fled a traffic stop, dragging the unnamed ICE officer a significant distance, adding the officer followed his training using appropriate force. His girlfriend, Blanca Mora, telling NBC Chicago he had no criminal history, which an NBC News review of publicly available records confirms. The family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, who DHS says was the undocumented immigrant killed by an ICE officer near Chicago, calling the 38-year-old a devoted father, cherished friend, and kind soul. The sound of Friday's gunshots caught on a nearby surveillance camera. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE saying the officer fired as he feared for his life after Villegas Gonzalez from Mexico fled a traffic stop, dragging the unnamed ICE officer a significant distance, adding the officer followed his training using appropriate force. His girlfriend, Blanca Mora, telling NBC Chicago he had no criminal history, which an NBC News review of publicly available records confirms. The family of Silverio Villegas.
So this one, ironically, coincidentally, it's a traffic stop or, going wrong. This man lost his life, dragging the officer. I wonder what the conversations are like. This officer responded with deadly force, and they said it was appropriate given that he was drugged for several yards. So then he got shot, killed, lost his life. You can hear the gunshots in the video. Now this isn't the exact same thing as with the white woman, but there's obvious similarities, with the car, him trying to flee, the officer shooting because he said he was being drugged, essentially. I don't know if they reprimanded that police officer for reaching in the car, and what happened. So I think this is a different view, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure, right? Because I just want to go through these. Yeah, seemingly. Yep, his action caused a reaction. Samuel Shalom. Let's look at this one.
One person was killed, an ICE agent was injured after a confrontation and a shooting when officers tried to pull the man over.
Let's go to Julian Cruz. He's live for us in Franklin Park with the latest on what happened. Julian.
Well, Ben and Lourdes, ICE spokespeople in a written statement telling us that they were conducting a targeted law enforcement activity with an arrest team attempting to take an individual into custody this morning, an individual that ICE describes as an illegal criminal alien. Surveillance cameras capturing the deadly encounter about 8:50 this morning in Franklin Park. An arrest team working to take the driver of this car into custody at 9840 West Grand Avenue. Reports from ICE today describing the driver as a criminal illegal alien. The suspect resisted and attempted to drive his vehicle into the arrest team, spokespeople say, striking an officer and subsequently dragging him as he fled the scene. Fearing for his life, the officer discharged his firearm and struck the subject. The gunshots captured on the surveillance cameras of a nearby Franklin Park auto repair and tire shop.
Franklin Park is heavily Latino. So, yes, my fear was that ICE would be coming here.
People in the neighborhood stunned to see a large number of federal agents converging on the scene. Images captured by witnesses showing ICE agents rendering aid to the mortally wounded driver who later succumbed to his injuries at an area hospital. An ICE agent suffering serious injuries, spokespeople say, and he is still recovering. WGN investigates, shedding light on the dead suspect, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, identified by the Department of Homeland Security. Court records show Villegas Gonzalez only prior cases in Cook County have been for traffic violations, 4 cases in all dating back to 2010. The most recent traffic case was in 2019 for operating an uninsured motor vehicle. He has also been cited several times previously for infractions, including speeding, driving on an expired license and without insurance as well, violating Chicago's muffler noise ordinance.
That's the thing that I guess they're in the country illegally, right? He's still getting citations and things of that nature. He didn't have a criminal record, and so it's interesting, right? How in this one they said criminal illegal. So I get he's illegal, so technically he's breaking the law. And then the other video that we watched, the short, said he had no criminal record. It's just interesting the verbiage they use and what's accurate. And then how do you look at the person once they characterize or mischaracterize the person that's being spoken about that lost their life in the video? It's just interesting in that way. ICE is not playing, right? Y'all can talk all that community police and shit, and they ain't police. If you in their way, when they trying to do this job, they not fucking around. This is military personnel. All this sociology shit that local officers get taught, they not going for that. They going for a particular reason. And if you involved in a way, I don't want people to act obtuse to understanding that critical things can happen to you. You know, that's one thing I just really want us to hearken to. You can talk that shit if you want to. They not playing how you want them to play. I went to go look at this right here. Let me see. It'll play twice. I don't want to refresh it because then it'll mess me up.
Hey, go one way or the other. Don't go back. This is the United States. I don't want it. Everybody step back. Step back. Stay back. Stay back. What the fuck did he do to you? Stay back. What did he do to you? Do not put your breath in here. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. Hey, I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting.
See, that's a perfect example, yo. They don't give a fuck about none of that, bro. I don't even hear them. Ducci, what up, baby? Yo, I don't even hear them saying stop resisting. The dude saying I'm not resisting, he used to dealing with the police. They ain't even saying stop resisting. You know, the police, the local police, law enforcement say stop resisting, right? Like they do these, they make these calls, right? Because you getting arrested for a particular thing, resisting arrest and etc. ICE ain't even studying none of that shit. They not saying any of that. Listen to this. This is a stark difference. Yeah, you're misunderstanding, Royale. It's not about them being part of the military. Where they getting these men from that are doing the job? They on a different type of time. If you look in their backgrounds, my speculation is that these were military personnel in the past, at the very least, right? And how they going about things, you can tell. They not saying stop resisting. They don't give a fuck. And we had these conversations say, yo, should black people be involved, right? How do we discern what's right and what's wrong? Is the 14th Amendment in jeopardy? You know, when that gets repealed, who gets implicated? And we were saying, yo, they never came to our aid. The Latinos never said nothing when we getting shot and killed from Rodney King all the way up, dealing with the police and all that. So now we here. And yeah, those are great questions. Y'all saying, yo, who's illegal, who's not, and all that. Yo, I don't know how they identifying them, but I know that they have intel on a whole lot of stuff, right? The guy who got shot and killed in the last video that I played, he was an illegal immigrant. You know, and I know that has nuance to it, right? But they are not playing Whatever orders they got, they are enacting those things. Yeah, and I don't know how they identifying them. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how they identifying them. And how are they treating protesters? Because the white lady seemed like that's what she did, right? She went to go make sure ICE was treating people well, as seemingly, she was a protester, whatever the case was, and she got too close, wrong place, wrong time, doing the wrong thing. That officer made a split-second decision based on what he thought was in jeopardy, his life, and shot her dead. I'm just saying. What we doing? We had the military in DC. You can call yourself a protester. They label you as an agitator. Then what? You call yourself a protester. They label you as an agitator. Then what? But one thing I'm trying to discern and mind through is, where do black people fall in this? What do we do? Again, we had the conversation, overwhelmingly say, yo, this ain't none of our business. They ain't never help us, right? Y'all heard the conversation. We had that conversation about 6 months ago. But on New Year's Eve, something else happened. So I'm asking, I'm looking for answers in the chat. See, Donald, that's interesting. Once you get in the way, you breaking laws. And here's the thing. They can misinterpret the law. They can ignore their codes of conduct, their rules, their protocol. And then you die. So I'm just asking, like, what do we do, when people are saying black people need to stay out the way? But then on New Year's Eve, something else happened. Let me check my inbox real quick before I go to the last thing I want to go to. Aaron, you got it. Let me see.
Take off your mask.
All right, let me play this one. All right, let me see. All right, because I just want us to assess the conduct of the ICE officers, or whatever the proper verbiage is. I don't want to say the wrong in terms of how they should be characterized.
New details tonight about the immigration raids caught on camera in the city of Downey. This is new video of an attempted detention yesterday morning near Benares and Ryerson roads. Witnesses tell us two landscapers were grabbed by what appears to be immigration agents. As neighbors began to come out, the two were released and agents drove away. One of the men has a green card and has lived in the United States for 40 years. The other has a work permit that he was carrying on him at the time. During this video, you can also see agents inside of a car pointing a gas canister at people on the street who were filming.
Take off your mask, you little.
New details tonight about the immigration raids caught on camera in the city of Downey. This is new video of an attempted detention yesterday morning near Benares and Ryerson roads. Witnesses tell us two landscapers were grabbed by what appears to be immigration agents. As neighbors began to come out, the two were released and agents drove away. Neighbors say one of the men has a green card and has lived in the United States for 40 years. The other has a work permit that he was carrying on him at the time. During this video, you can also see agents inside of a car pointing a gas canister at people on the street who were filming.
Take off your mask, you little.
New details tonight about the
He been on a green card for 40 years. Somebody edify me. Is that appropriate? Like, he been on a green card for 40 years. That's how that go. I don't know. I am ignorant when it comes to like how you become a citizen or a naturalized citizen, etc. As Q with the $5 says, it's all wild west. Tony O was popping with the $5 says, first catching you live. What do I do, homie? What's popping, man? Good to see you, man. Hope all is well. Glad you were able to catch the live. Okay, you can renew it every 5 years. Okay, so that said no. Yeah, I'm trying to understand. Trip said no. Oh, okay. And I know how that can work. Trip, you're saying like things can drag on. So if there's a mistake or you just continue to renew. Okay. So it seems like he kept his thing current. Okay. So he renewed it 5 or 10 times. Okay. Yeah, man, it's just interesting. And you think about everything we looking at. Is anything being done by the book? No, Roy. I discern quickly, but I ask these questions. But foolishness, I can pick up. Like kids don't be knowing, but they know something ain't right. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. Is this the same ICE as it was when Obama was president? Or are they moving differently? Are they moving more harshly? Do they not give a damn? They coming to get these motherfuckers. They ain't saying stop, no, don't. They opening the doors and they yanking people out these cars. And they shooting shit up when they need to. And they are empowered by the commander in chief to act to operate in this manner. I seen a clip. Boy said he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm not even making a determination about right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm simply looking at it like, yo, they moving like this. And we had the conversation. Should black people stay out the way? They just went and got somebody else president. Let me ask y'all a question. Are you guys for the way they moving? Put a 1 in the chat if you like, understand, or fuck with the way they moving in the United States now regarding the illegal immigrants. Or maybe illegal immigrants. Or allegedly illegal immigrants. Or potentially. Are y'all for the way they moving in regards to agitators or protesters? ICE, yeah, I'm talking about ICE. Put a 1 in the chat if you for it so we can understand. Or put a 2 if you're not, obviously. Okay. All right, so we got I would say mostly ones. It might be about even. I'm going to drop the link so we can further the conversation so I can get edified on as to why you have a 1 and why you have a 2. Now, black people, as it pertains to black people, what do we do in this instance, right? Say his name. There's a reason why I got that up there. It's interesting that a lot of people actually didn't know about that story until like yesterday or the day before, but it happened on a so-called New Year's Eve. Which one? Is it this one? Oh, okay. Look at this real quick. Right? So this right here. So Joshua Reed Eagle has a blue check from Twitter. It says protesters set up a memorial for Renee Good, the mother of 3 and a U.S. citizen who was shot 3 times in the face by ICE. ICE responded by stomping on the memorial candles.
Really, you fucking punk? That's what you're gonna fucking do?
What?
What? Do you know what that is for? What is that for? What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that for? You don't give a about her? Bro, this is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here. Really, you fucking punk? That's what you're gonna fucking do? What? Do you know what that is for? What is that for? What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that for? You don't give a about her? Bro, this is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here. Really, you fucking punk? That's what you're gonna.
Shorty from the car, AC. He kicking her shit over for her little memorial and all that. He don't give a fuck. His mans ain't stop him, and his man's gonna ride with him. This how they moving. Let's put it in real perspective. These ain't the police we complain about. These ain't the police we complaining about. That's the crazy shit about it. These ain't the police that we complain about. It's almost like once you experience this, it's almost like you got a newfound appreciation for how the police be moving for the most part. Because these ain't the police that we complaining about.
Can do?
What?
Do you know what is that for? What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that for? You don't give a about her?
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here. Really?
Kicking her shit over. Now, black people, where do we stand? Because we had a memorial service for a black man killed by an off-duty ICE agent. Now, I need to play the eyewitness news story first so we can see how we feel about the situation as a whole, I guess. Facts, T.O. This is crazy. Kicking it over like you seen a little Leon, was it in Jacksonville where they put a bottle of Don Julio for every body they catch? Was it Jacksonville? And they put the big bottle if it's more than one body. And it's the Jacksonville, he said he did the Fantasia shit, When I See You, the goof Julio who got shot, laying on them niggas' graves and all that. And then Who I Smoke, he's talking about Bibby and all them niggas. The Tuka pack thing fucking blew up. You know what I'm saying? When you smoking on the Tuka pack, I remember young MA had to apologize because she didn't understand what it mean. They kicking her shit over like it's that. T.O. 100% on point, right? That shit crazy when you put it in perspective. Let's play this though.
Community members in Northridge tonight are remembering a man who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve. Authorities say the agent opened fire when that man pointed a rifle at him. Tonight, activists are demanding answers and justice. Friends say Keith Porter was celebrating New Year's Eve when he was shot and killed.
But it looks like he may have been celebrating with a gun. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pullian spoke with friends and family attending a vigil tonight, and they're now looking for answers.
We're here off Amestoy Avenue, close to where Keith Porter was gunned down by that off-duty ICE agent. This memorial is here for family, friends to mourn. This song, meant to uplift, only lowered the mood as this crowd grieves the death of a 43-year-old father of two. Keith Porter was shot and killed New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent. What would you like to say to the ICE agent if you had the chance?
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole a black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter was observing the holiday that night with gunfire.
You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed.
This is sad. This is sad.
We've here 35 years. This is the first time that such a thing ever happened in my community.
As the LAPD investigates what led up to the shooting, the community want witnesses to come forward and the ICE agent identified, arrested, and prosecuted for killing the man they say was kind.
I thank you for my life.
Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organized this vigil. They are demanding accountability from District Attorney Nathan Hochman. In fact, they are having a community meeting with him on Monday in Northridge. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
So, I don't know what I just clicked. So,
community members in Northridge.
Nobody came out with a video yet in terms of if this was on video or not. I'm surprised that it isn't. Somebody ring video doorbell camera or what. But they said he got 3 shots off towards the ICE agent before he was killed. Yeah, they haven't come out with any video yet. I haven't seen any. So it turns out he had a rifle and he was shooting it for New Year's Eve. which I don't know where y'all from, but even though that was done, that's illegal to do. I don't know where y'all from, but do y'all have shot spotters, like the equipment that know when gunshots go off so they can kind of mitigate that type of shit? Obviously real shootings, but then that also affects, you being able to shoot during New Year's Eve. Okay. And so he had a gun. He was asked to put it down a couple times and all that. It said that he didn't, this all alleged, right? Because we haven't got any confirmation. He got off 3 shots. But he died in the process. It sounded like the ICE agent got off on him. They're not playing by them rules. But this is a black man, Keith Porter, because there's such a heavy police presence in so many areas. See? So now there's ICE agents all over the place. You don't know who's who. Salute to Boo Bear 948. New subscriber. Appreciate you. They not dressed like regular police. Every video we see, they have the vest on. But obviously, I know they're walking around oftentimes without the vest on because they want to catch people by surprise. And who are they looking for? Why is he there? Why does he feel the need to confront Keith in that instance? The obvious answer is, well, he had a gun in the middle of a neighborhood in California. I don't know the gun laws well in California, but they seem more strict than like Texas, as an example. So there was a couple things that interested me. Say his name. Say her name. Do those two things only apply to black people? Say his name, say her name. Is that only for black people specifically? Put a 1 in the chat if yes. Put a 2 in the chat if no. This man got killed. The white woman got killed by ICE agents. They're both U.S. citizens. And in the wake of them being killed, now there's a fight about don't say her name about her. That's reserved for black people. Let me play this so y'all can see what I'm talking about. This interested me, so I wanted to get y'all opinion on it.
Many of us finding out about the murder of Keith Porter only after the murder of Renee Good, despite the fact that he was murdered a full week before, is exactly why say her / say his name is strictly for the black community. Keith Porter was celebrating New Year's with his family when an off-duty ICE agent took his life. New Year's. On New Year's. A lot of people are finding out only after the death of Renee Good. And there's been this whole debacle, this whole conversation from, I'm going to go ahead and say it, performative activists, performative allies, people who want to look good, who want to wear the t-shirt, who want to put up the black squares, who want to wear the blue bracelets. But they also want to jump into the same comment sections and argue with black people when black people say, hey, please don't use say her name because that's strictly for black people who have had their lives taken by bigotry. And then these same people will pretend that they don't know why when the Keith Porter situation proves why. We were always going to say Renee Good's name. We were always going to remember her. Her name will always be spoken. Her story will always be told. We didn't hear about Keith Porter until after Renee was taken from us. And that's just a small example of how these patterns keep repeating. So if you hear a black person tell you today, hey, please don't use those phrases. Those are strictly for our folks. Do yourself a favor if you don't want your allyship to look like just optics, and listen, adjust, and keep it pushing. Okay, thanks, bye. Many of us finding out about the...
Okay. So her essential sentiment, the reason why say her name or his name has to be reserved for black people who are killed in these type of instances is because if that slogan is then adopted by white people who never get forgotten about, it's going to water it down when we try to make sure that the light is shined on black people who get glossed over in these similar situations. So essentially, that's why she's saying that it cannot be co-opted because that it won't have the impact for black people who are shot and killed in these alleged unjust situations. It'll lose its impact. So that's the argument there. Do you guys agree with that argument? Now, when she's telling the story, is it important for her to give it an assessment of this whole story? Does she need to say in her short that he had a gun and was celebrating New Year's, letting off shots? Does that change the narrative? Did that change anything? Or she doesn't need to say that because that's not what she's addressing? You know, because she said he got shot and killed while celebrating with his family. He got shot and killed while possessing a long rifle while celebrating New Year's with his family, letting off gunshots. Police officer makes a ICE agent who's off duty makes a determination about him having that gun. Asked him to put it down several times. He doesn't comply. What was said in the news report, they had a shootout. Does that change anything about say his name or say her name? Yeah, and hopefully we get some police officers here, but what is the rule when you guys are off duty? I've seen off-duty police officers intervene. Like, is their oath, do they still have to do the job even if they're off duty? Because I've seen several stories that off-duty officers intervene in a situation. See this one.
Okay, I need to unpack this in a way that doesn't lose the human at the heart of it. I'm not interested in debating whether ICE is complicated and every officer is good or bad. Because when ICE embeds itself into everyday life and neighborhoods, and that very presence kills a man who wasn't even their target, we have to talk about what that actually means, not what that might mean hypothetically. So let's talk about Keith Porter, and let's do it gently, because this is a human life that we're talking about. Keith Porter was a 43-year-old father of two who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve in Northridge, California. That's a man with children, a girl dad, no less. Someone whose daughters now have to go through life without him. And I genuinely can't imagine what that must feel like. That's a real loss, not a talking point. And here's the thing that makes my blood simmer. Keith wasn't being detained by ICE. He wasn't a part of an immigration operation. He wasn't someone ICE had a warrant for. He wasn't even on ICE's radar. Yet an off-duty ICE officer inserted himself in a situation that he never should have been in. And it ended with Keith's life being taken. Now, from what I've read, ICE agents do go through training. Questionable, but training. And that training is about enforcement, detention, compliance, transportation, custody, paperwork. It's not designed for community police response. It's not designed for moments where someone's ambiguous, confused, chaotic, scared, or just human. So when an ICE agent off duty decides that they're the one to respond in a moment that's not immigration enforcement context, you have a mismatch, right? You have enforcement training, not community safety training. You have authority, not discretion. You have orders and compliance, not judgment and empathy. That mismatch is deadly. And it's also why we saw the killing of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, a 37-year-old mother and writer who was shot 3 times in the face by an ICE officer. That shooting has sparked nationwide protests, and local leaders called for accountability after video contradicted the official narrative. 2 different people, 2 different cities, same structural problem. Not one bad moment. A system that is built without limits or accountability. and without a real delineation from things like local law enforcement and community crisis response. And I want to be clear about something very real. I couldn't and wouldn't want to imagine what Keith's daughters are going through right now. That's not political, that is human. Whatever the legal narratives are, whatever self-defense language gets used, whatever DHS says, a father is gone. His family is grieving. That's the price humans pay when an agency that wasn't designed for everyday civilian moments starts acting like it is. And until people start asking, why are ICE agents, especially off-duty, involved in situations that call for a trained community response? Why does enforcement mission creep into human moments? Why is there so little accountability when someone dies? When someone gets murdered, none of this gets resolved. Keith didn't die because he was a threat. He died because enforcement power without proportional limits got used in a moment that it never should have been in. That's the structural truth, and honestly, that's why this keeps happening.
What y'all think? Is she right? Is she wrong? I think the most important question I'm putting on the table, does it matter? This is all after the fact. And I'm telling you, they are not operating how you think they should. They're going hard in the paint. They going hard in every community where illegals are at, and those communities seem to kind of cross the racial divide. Black people are there. Why is he in proximity to there? Yeah, Mel, it might be an AI, but just the words, right? Somebody put those words in that system, you see? And those are somebody's thoughts and sentiments. And I don't think everybody here that's listening disagrees with the sentiments, regardless if that was a robot. You know what I mean? Somebody put that thought process together. You know? So I just looking at it, and there's not a whole lot of details other than what I showed you guys, you know, and I did my due diligence to look up more about Keith Porter specifically. But it did give us the encompassing. So the news report, that was the best one. That was the cleanest and the shortest, you know, about what happened in this altercation. Cause that's what it sounded like based on the news report and what I could find. I just really wish that, you know, we had a video, because we have a video for everything else. What she said, was it logical? What she said, did it have merit based on the situation, based on what we know about the situation? But my overarching question is, does that shit matter? Or do we need to identify that even though we can't be deported or yanked out, does this cross the racial divide that we can't ignore? Where were these people placed? Who was affected by these refugees or immigrants, whatever they called them at that particular time? Can Black people just ignore it? Do we need to properly assess the activity and the vigor in which those men do this ICE job? We saw the Latino dude get shot and killed. We got the Black guy that got shot and killed. We got the white girl that got shot and killed. 2 out of 3 were citizens. So we're just trying to figure this out.
It's a stampede! DJ Ham the Stamp.
DJ Ham the Stamp.
Mr. Payne with a $10 says, ICE agents, and other federal law enforcement can intervene in preventing criminal actions. even potential ones. If KP had a rifle drawn and fired 3 shots, what are we even talking about? So Mr. Payne is saying this is a non-starter. You had the hammer when you're not supposed to. These people aren't from the community. So when we see people shooting on New Year's Eve, we may be accustomed to it. That happens all the time. But if you're not from that environment, how do you discern that situation? Vet Life with the $5 says they stay hitching their wagon to our caboose, then leave us out once they took it over. We're not falling for that anymore. Okay, so Vet is responding to as it pertains to the say his name. Mr. Payne with the $5 says black versus white is black versus white regardless of circumstance. Since when does the death of a black man trump the death of a white woman in America? So he's saying, of course, that's front page news. Just, something that is, as an example, the white girl got stabbed on the train 2 years before that. A black woman got stabbed in the train station by a white dude randomly. But we had to bring that one up, and the white girl made front page news on every corner. So Mr. Payne simply saying, what you surprised about once again? Leon been a member for 9 months. Salute my G. Tonio with the $10 says, I live in El Paso, Texas. It was a free fall at the quote unquote wall down here. It was a section at the gate. They would let them in. We couldn't even go downtown due to the illegals. So he talking about his anecdotal experience really impacted his quality of life. Jerice with the $2 says, y'all need to learn to stay out the motherfucking way. What up, Jerice? Aaron with the $2 says, ICE turning into O Block, but with rights. Aaron with the $5 says, Trump said civil rights cause white people to be treated badly. That's how it's going. But bro, we know where this is heading. Aaron with the $2 says, ICE is acting like the pigs mixed with military. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. The Payne, what's the word?
What's going on, man? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. What's going on?
Yeah, man. It's a good topic today, man. It's fantastic. I think we do need to talk this one out. I didn't even hear about Kevin Porter until I just saw your show. That's how hidden that was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe I wasn't looking, but I stayed kind of attuned to this thing. But I don't know how broad you want to get it. I mean, you asked a lot of good questions to lead us on. One of the biggest things that we keep ignoring is that when Obama was president, he was a Democrat. There was no open opposition in the blue states against Obama. So that's why he didn't have this consternation. We don't hear the same protests in the red states and the red cities. The cops are cooperating with ICE to get the illegals out in the places where it's safest, like in the jails or the courtrooms. In the blue states, they're in direct opposition to the federal government. So the people in the streets cause consternation. It caused the protests, the screaming, and this and that. Now, this is separate from, the actual incidents where people lose their lives. But can you imagine the additional pressure? And, we have a blue versus red situation going on. We can't ignore that part of it. So that's why it's so much consternation. Now, ICE has always been ICE. They have a congressional mandate to get illegals out of this country. And believe it or not, I know blacks don't like to hear this, but when this country's overrun by illegals, that shit impacts us first. Right? Tax dollars, proximity, jobs, everything. I mean, we can't ignore that. Now, it's just our direct fight. As Americans, it is. As black people, we sometimes tend to separate ourselves from the rest of Americans, and that's where I think we make a mistake. We're Americans. If this country falls, that's just going to impact us the hardest as a community. So let me just stop there. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. As far as and as far as the brother getting shot, we need the facts, because if he had a gun and he actually got off 3 shots, now I thought the officer lived in the area.
He may indeed live in the area. Mr. Payne, from what I gathered, just to give a quick synopsis, is he's celebrating New Year's Eve, shooting off the guns. We kind of accustomed to that for the like we know that that's a thing, I should say, right? Just to be fair. even though it may be illegal. And I think it's illegal in California, I'm sure.
It's definitely illegal in California.
And so he had a long rifle, I think an AR. And so he's shooting off shots. The officer asked him to drop the weapon. They said he asked him a couple times, several times, and he didn't comply. And he got off 3 shots, but was killed in the process. That's what the news report said so far. And the family hasn't said much, but we need to know who did this and etc. And we want justice. But they're not saying anything contrary to the facts that the news report let out.
Let me ask you, let me say this before you go on. If he got off 3 shots with a long rifle and that guy was able to get him, he didn't really practice with his gun.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know that. Well, so that's my thing about the ICE. We have an expectation
Not
of
the
them
ICE
that
guy,
is,
the dude, Kevin Porter.
no, I understand. I was saying that we haven't. Here's my biggest gripe, right? We have an expectation for ICE as though they're the local police, and we're expecting them to operate in a manner in which we think they should, but they're not operating in that capacity. One thing, Mr. Payne, that Aaron sent me a video that I picked up is they're not saying stop resisting. The ICE, they ain't saying none of that shit like the police say. They don't care about none of that shit.
That's right.
You know,
That's
like
true.
local police probably ain't kicking over a visual, right? Because they see those things often. They kicking it over, and his 2 buddies came and like, you better, and he pushed them. You know, like they operating differently, but we have an expectation for them, and we understand. We hope so. Based on the law, and you guys can edify, right? But based on the law, they're not supposed. They're there for a particular reason,
right?
But if you in a path, it ain't gonna go how you think it's gonna go. Like that's my biggest. Like I'm just trying to clarify this for people. And so before it was being said, Mr. Payne, this ain't our fight. Black people don't got shit to do with this. But everything you said, people are agreeing that are subject to that. Well, the infiltration is in black neighborhoods, you know, and if you're in proximity to these things, you getting accosted too. They raided that building in Chicago, Mr. Payne, maybe 3-4 months ago.
I know about that.
And there was several black people that got arrested in the process because they had warrants. You know, like, so you got caught up in the wash.
Right.
So it's just interesting. Let me get Callie in. Diesel, good to see you, man. Hope all is well. Relly, what's popping?
Yes, sir.
Let me get Cal in, and then we'll get Diesel. Then we let Sherelle talk her shit. Cal, what's up? What's good?
Hey, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that this can be ignored. I don't think that we should be on the front lines for anything per se, but I don't think that we can effectively ignore it, especially when it comes to federal government actions and everything, because the same stuff that they're subjected to right now we can be subjected to with the stroke of a pen. It don't take that much. I mean, just they're domestic terrorists now. So now you're subjected to the same BS or any other thing that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Just change the law and that makes it lawful. But really it's not.
Cal, let me ask you a question. How, and what reason is needed to get labeled as a domestic terrorist?
Apparently it don't take much but protesting and getting on somebody's nerves on the federal level.
Really?
Yeah, because they label all them protesters domestic terrorists. And what were they doing? What were they doing besides protesting?
No, they didn't label the protesters. They had labeled Antifa as domestic terrorists. Now,
and then you can just say that they're Antifa. Easy peasy.
Well, I mean, if you congregate and you associate yourself with a certain group, then you're going to be categorized as that group. I mean, I don't know why.
Well, what I'm saying is that they can just say you are, and then you are. That's how propaganda works, and that's how media works, and that's the reason why they painted this whole thing as far as the cop got ran over and he was injured and had to go to the hospital and all that kind of stuff like that, when really that wasn't even the case. That's how propaganda works. You go ahead and you use a bunch of colorful adjectives to describe a situation. You get the people on your side. You go ahead and you do things behind closed doors on paper, and nobody questions it because they believe the narrative.
If you're talking about the ICE officer had to go to the hospital from getting hit by a car a couple months before this last incident. That wasn't this last incident, right? So are you saying that they're lying about that to make this incident seem so?
No, I know about
better?
No, I know about the previous incident. I mentioned it yesterday. But they said that he was injured and had to go to the hospital for this past incident.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? The way this, hey, I got to go back to work, but I'm going to just close with this, right? And excuse me for nerding out or whatever, but I'm about to quote Star Wars real quick. All right. And this is how democracy dies, with a thunderous applause.
Hold on.
I'll see y'all later.
Wait. Tell them white folk, put me on speaker.
I work from home. Can't nobody hear you.
All right, yeah, just be late. I'll send you $10 or whatever the fuck. So what does that mean? I couldn't get into Star Wars. They had this old nigga that was real little and he was mad athletic and talking backwards. I couldn't get into that shit.
Okay, so you more so,
huh?
Yeah, you talking about the original. Y'all didn't have no learning disability. Or you talking about HAMP had a learning disability?
Yeah, he had a learning disability. He couldn't get into Star Wars.
Oh, there you go.
That's that CTE.
But no.
Thing, Diesel.
Episodes 1, 2, and 3, the prequel trilogy, right? Not the original ones that came out in 77, 80, and 83, but talking about the newer ones that came out in like the late 90s or whatever, right? That was more so about setting up, because they had a galactic Congress, okay, the galactic Senate, excuse me.
Damn,
and all these different but it's all, but what I'm saying is it's all political. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, but just on an galactic place. So like these different states, the different state representatives that we have in our government, in Star Wars, they represent planets. Okay, so they all have to represent
galactic. I get disgusted.
Okay, so basically it was basically telling how the empire took over the democracy of the galaxy. Basically, that's what it was, and they all championed it and welcomed it in, and they got, and you know, it was a slow burn. It was a frog in a pot. And they sitting there cheering all this BS on, and then before they know it, we got Emperor Palpatine.
Okay, so you're saying that that's the potential trajectory. Now, one thing though is he can't be president again. So is that a reach?
No, you keep on setting this precedent or whatever like that about you keep on giving the executive branch more and more powers, right? Then you go on ahead and you champion it, and all they got to do is just slow walk it and make it lawful. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next 5 years. I'm not even saying it's going to happen in the next 10 years, but we've been slow walked into giving up our rights for like, at least from what I can tell, because I ain't nothing but 40 plus years old, for at least the last 20 years. We've been slow walked into BS.
So that means it doesn't matter who was president, right? Because that was both administrations, right?
No, it doesn't matter who's president. No, that's why I labeled it as the executive branch.
I just want to be clear on that one. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Kat, you got to come back then so we can, because you may have some pushback. I'm not sure. These, yeah, place, call out sick or whatever y'all, whatever.
Call out sick, you know.
Diesel, what up?
What's going on, people? How y'all doing?
Good. I don't know if you heard the whole show, but you feel free to whatever you wanted to comment on.
So I came in when you had I think it was AI girl talking about how ICE is not domestic, law enforcement, stuff like that. So the problem I have with that statement is that a lot of people like to pick and choose where they want law enforcement, right? So at the end of the day, if you've noticed any like school shooting or mass shooting or anything like that, it's all hands on deck. Nobody complains about it. You have ATF, DEA, all kinds of federal agencies there and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But now we're supposed to turn that switch off when it's just one person with a gun. You know what I'm saying? Or it's a situation you don't believe that an officer should react to, but you want him to react to all the other situations, right? That's what I have the biggest problem with, right? Because when it comes to law enforcement, we all are held to the same basic general statutes and laws and rules, right?
Yeah.
Use of deadly force is basic and general across the board. It all states the same thing in defense of oneself or a third party that they believe would cause great bodily harm or harm or injury or death, right? That's across the board. So there is no difference when it comes to that. A local officer is going to operate the same when it comes to deadly force as a federal officer, right? So I don't know why we're trying to change those parameters when it comes down to it. And that's what I came up with.
Okay. So Cheek, are you responding to Diesel?
Yeah, because that doesn't make any sense.
Good morning, man. Are you raised by wolves?
Good morning, man. I don't know why we start off with bullshit so early.
Yeah, but you still gotta say good morning. You raised by wolves or something? Jeez Louise, man.
Good afternoon. It doesn't make sense for ICE, which is specific to what? It's in the name itself. I've never seen ICE show up to any school shootings. Haven't seen that.
You haven't paid attention.
They don't have any. What would you say?
You haven't paid attention. I've seen they've showed up to all kinds of shootings.
ICE has showed up to all kinds of school shootings.
ATF, DEA, all kinds of federal agencies show up to those kinds of
No. I didn't say. See, here's the issue. You're trying
ICE
to lump.
too. Yes, ICE too.
No. I'm afraid
U.S.
not.
Marshals even show up, bro. Like that is exactly.
Again, you keep stick with ICE. Can you please show me an article where ICE shows up to a school shooting that has nothing to do with immigration? When have they called ICE for a school shooting and it has nothing to do with immigration?
See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't understand the process of when these things happen. Nobody calls ATF. Nobody calls DEA. Nobody calls ICE. If they hear of a school shooting, they're going. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It has nothing to do.
The problem that I'm gonna have is he's not substantiating that with any facts. But here is a fact, right? ICE does not have the same the same legal anything as a federal as the local enforcement. Local enforcement enforces criminal law. ICE does not. ICE enforces immigration law. Local enforcement does not. Local enforcement patrols neighborhood. ICE does not. Traffic stops. ICE can't do it. Enter homes freely. ICE can't do that. There's plenty of things and restrictions as to what ICE can and can't do. And the reason why I'm having an issue is because the government that everybody, so whatever, they're just saying, oh, they just do what they do. No, they don't, which is why they are categorized in something totally different. They specialize in immigration, which is the same reason why you don't call a New York Bronx cop to come deport some dude who's from goddamn Dominican Republic. You call ICE. If we start letting these people if we start letting these people overstep their bounds and getting away with things and not being held into account when you're not even a fucking law enforcement officer, you can't enforce it, then that's where we have the problem. The issue that people are having is there is nothing to hold these people accountable for the things that they're doing. You have no reason as an off-duty ICE officer walking around acting like you're Batman when all you do is deport and that's your special realm. You don't have any jurisdiction to do anything else. Sit your fucking ass in the house and let cops deal with it because you're not a fucking cop. But instead you want to shoot somebody.
Let Diesel reply.
So do you understand that every single federal agency that is involved in law enforcement, they don't do anything on local level? They don't. That's what every single federal agency, every single one, ATF has their special parameters that they have to enforce under. U.S. Marshals, DEA, all of them have their special parameters that they have to enforce under. They can't enforce any local or state laws. That's what every federal agency. So what you're doing is you're trying to make ICE seem like it's this one entity that can't do that under the federal law when all of them can. But they still also assist on local situations that might happen within the state because they are part of that. They are part of of that whole atmosphere, ecosystem, right? So they still assist if officers need help.
Assisting somebody is different than taking the situation in your own hands. Of course, a state can ask for assistance, just like in the current in California when they had the fires. If they needed the federal help to do so, then they would ask for it. But the issue is when you start doing things like overstepping that and sending someone's own National Guard into their own state, and that's strictly meant for the governor. When you start overstepping boundaries and overstepping things, that is a problem. And if you don't deal with it and you don't get held into account for the things you do or the outcomes of it, then you get situations like the one with this black guy and this white girl. So these people hold on.
First of all, ICE was enforcing what they're supposed to be enforcing when it came to the white woman.
That off-duty cop did?
No, I'm talking about the white.
I'm talking about the off-duty cop. The
off-duty cop. Okay, so when it comes down to that, I don't know the actual details of what happened, what made him go out there, whatever. But let's say it was a different situation where we know all the details, and a person was getting robbed in front of. Let's not even any federal officer. You're saying that he's just supposed to sit there and watch that person get robbed and not do anything?
I'm not saying he should do anything, because he has no authority to do so. If you don't know what's going on, and you put yourself in a position so you can kill somebody, then you should be held in full account if you're wrong on it. So instead of asking this,
Cheeky said you're wrong.
You're wrong. Instead of asking this hypothetical, let's deal with the situation at hand. Did this officer, this off-duty officer, ICE officer at that, have the right to sit there and try to police an area that he has no jurisdiction over?
That's nothing about policing, but this is where you're wrong at. Because if you saw somebody getting robbed and you intervened and actually took that person's life from intervening to stop a robbery, you wouldn't be held at any fault of your own.
That's not true. There are plenty of instances where civilians are trying to take a role and they don't know what they're doing, and because they're interjecting what they think have authority over, puts themselves in a worse position. Which is why they tell you. Which is why they tell you call the cops, right? But let's just look up what authority an off-duty ICE officer has.
He has no authority, just like hold on, Cheeky. But an off-duty police officer has the same authority. Off-duty police have no authority as an off-duty ICE agent. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If they're off-duty, they don't have any authority. So ultimately, you could say, "I'm not listening to you," but if you do something to threaten that person's life, they're held at the same standard as a regular citizen. That's the point.
And that's the issue. You're saying somebody is feeling threatened because they entered into a situation that they had no reason being in. They are investigating something as if they are local law enforcement and they're off-duty as is. First of all,
they have no authority.
You just said they don't. You just said off-duty officers or ICE people don't have the authority, right? Then you just
no. I didn't mean it in that way. What I meant was they're. So you being off duty, like if you were off duty in uniform, that's one thing. But you being off duty in civilian clothes, you can't expect the public to see you as a police officer. So you're held as not being seen as a police officer. So if you do get any commands or anything like that, and that person just decides not to listen to you, they can't be held as this obstructing delay or not listening to the police or something like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's true. But now we have the issue of whether or not these things happen in the way that the living person said they did or the dead person. We don't have any video evidence. This one is a lot more nuanced. The reason why Renee Good had the issue that they're having is because it was recorded by people who were around. Then they released that footage to the public. Now we're dealing with a situation where it's his word against a dead man's word. And the issue I'm going to have is, why the fuck were you there anyway?
But see, that's the point, Cheeky. I don't know, so I can't say if that officer was supposed to be there or not. I don't know. But you're saying he was not supposed to be there when you don't even know.
No. My point is, if he was there, even if he was there as ICE, what could he possibly do, right? And I'm looking at what it is that they can and can't do. He can't enforce shit. He needs to call the cops, but he can't enforce criminal law.
Saving somebody's life has nothing to do with enforcement.
What do you mean saving some? Call the cops.
If he was there because somebody had a gun out shooting a gun, that has to do with saving somebody's life or protecting.
How if he's not shooting at anybody?
I don't know if he is or not, but he had a gun out. I don't know. I don't know if he was shooting at anybody or not. I know he was shooting a gun out in the public. So I don't.
And who got hit?
No, but Cheeky, that's not how bullets work, though.
Yeah.
So even people being killed from people shooting up in the sky, like you know,
no one's disagreeing with that. But you know who we're not calling? ICE. We're calling cops. We're calling people who deal with the law and can enforce it. We're not calling immigration to do that. So if you
want ICE to sit there and watch somebody get shot, is that what you're saying?
Who got shot?
That's what he's saying.
No, I'm not saying in this situation. I'm saying
who got shot.
No, Cheeky. Hypothetically speaking, his question can have an answer from you.
Stop! I'm not dealing with hypotheticals.
We're trying to understand your logic, though. What's your logic?
The logic is if something is going awry and you don't know what's going on, and you don't have any enforcement, you call the cops because that's what cops will tell you to do.
Listen,
but that's not. Hold on, Cheeky. That's not what cops do, though.
No.
So we know that cops intervene even when they're off duty.
And that's my problem.
No. See, this the thing,
yes,
right?
He is. He is law enforcement. Yes, he is. He is law enforcement. He enforces federal law.
Tell me.
Here's what we saw, though, Cheeky. You're not being considerate of everything being said to you. So
I am being considerate of it.
Well, no, you're not. I'm going to tell you, right? So when they raided in Chicago, when ICE raided that apartment building in Chicago, people got arrested who weren't illegals. They accosted and detained everybody, ran everybody's records, and American citizens got arrested who had warrants. You see, they were operating in tandem with local law enforcement. There's an expectation there when DEA, FBI are in your jurisdiction. You see,
I understand that, right? Because
so
that's
then,
how
wait. Your interjection's a little bit too early. So now here's the other part. These people are law enforcement in whatever capacity. You're saying that they're not law enforcement in that capacity. However, they all are law enforcement, right? So what do reasonable people think? These people feel obligatory when the crime is in commission. In commission of when he's seeing somebody commit a crime, these people feel, even if it's just a feeling, obligatory to do something about it. That's a reasonable expectation from these people.
Absolutely. It is a reasonable expectation, but you should also be held into account for the thing that comes after the fact. That is my point. The thing that we know for a fact, he's off duty.
Okay.
He suspected a crime. Mind you, he's still off duty, so he has no authority. But if he wants to investigate the crime and something happens to him, or he causes something to happen when that person didn't do anything wrong, or he loses his life in the process of a crime, or something that you may think is illegal, but he didn't hurt anybody. Now you have to deal with that. Now you have to deal with the consequences of that. Now I think this man should be held. I think this man should be held in full court of law and it should be investigated. That is my point. But the issue that I'm having is you as an ICE officer, they are moving very, very liberal, as if they are the law. That's my problem. They're moving as if they are the law and they don't have the same authority as the law within a local realm. They don't have the same authority as the law within between a sheriff or whatever. They are people that deal with immigration. So if you're dealing with a civilian, half your job is already out the fucking window. Go home.
Okay. Does California have open carry?
No. I think they
I don't know.
I think it's in the court. I think they just got it.
We would have to look these things up, but what I do know and the things that I'm dealing with is just the fact of the situation. A man was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE officer who even on duty wouldn't have nearly as much realm or authority, and he put himself in a position and he should not have. Now, whether or not you think
you're wrong, you're totally wrong, bro. You are way off base. If you're not. Especially on so you mean to tell me if ICE officers is a group of ICE officers in uniform are sitting there riding in a daggone neighborhood and they hear shots fired, they're to not do anything, just ignore it and drive off?
You just said
ICE not gonna do that.
You just said ICE officers in uniform. which means they're on what?
You just said in uniform or not.
They're on
duty. They're on duty. But you just said what you just said was
the expectation is if something is happening that they think is illegal, they call the cops and help them intervene.
No,
as
it's
well.
not the expectation. No, it's not. No, it is not.
I thought that news
no, it is not. Because what happens, this is what happens. Let me tell you what happens.
Let
me tell you what happens is if they see a crime that occurs, they go ahead and detain and then call the cops. They go ahead and do what they're supposed to do as far as making sure the situation is safe, and then they call the cops.
But guess
There's
what?
nothing that says they cannot investigate something or detain somebody based on a law that they might not invest. They might not.
Nobody's disagreeing with that. But guess what? The cops would be called. There was no notice until after the fact. He didn't call the cops and go, "Hey guys,"
because the guy was shooting.
My point is
you're just not educated in the situation, bro. I'm sorry. You're just not.
Okay, how about this? You supply me a couple of things, right? There's a couple of statements you made, right? Supply me where you found ICE in a school shooting. That would help me a lot, right? Not federal. I'm not talking about DEA. Supply me where you've seen ICE in a circumstance, because you said you've seen it, right? I would like to see an article or something where ICE is involved.
I saw it in real life.
Okay, well, I'm sure there was a reporting of that. Or show me something. Find me some information, please. I'll look it up myself. The second part of it is an off-duty ICE officer. Is this person? We need to find whether or not this person is required or the first choice is to call the local enforcement or act as if he's the local enforcement.
As any officer, when you're off duty, you're not required to call anybody before you go looking into anything. That's a private
Officer Diesel, could I ask you a question real quick? And how everybody doing?
Hold on. Well, Sherelle still got to go unless she.
Sorry. I just had one question. That was all.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I just ask
Lee, what's popping? She said you can.
What's good, everybody? Hope everybody having a great day. Diesel, right? That applies for a regular civilian. If they see something happening and they want to act to defend the, like let's say if they saw the shooting that happened where that white kid went into that supermarket and started shooting all them black people, could we have intervened if we were there?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, that's I
just
said that.
You're
under the same. You're under the same. An off-duty officer is basically looked at the same person, especially if they're out.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Oh, hold on, sir. Hold on. Especially if they're out of their jurisdiction, they're looked at as a regular citizen.
No, they're not.
Okay.
You have authority. You has authority as an off-duty police officer.
Good morning. First and foremost.
Good morning. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Okay, so where's my bad? I looked down for 36 seconds and I lost the plot.
I'm sorry.
So Lee, your question, did Diesel answer it? And then Diesel, what was Tyson disagreeing with you on? Sorry.
He's disagreement on an off-duty officer is looked at as a peace officer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you still have officer authorities as an off-duty cop. I'm a correction officer, as I stated yesterday. I don't have those same authorities as a police officer off-duty. Sure. My peace officer status only applies when I'm on duty. So when I make an arrest or attempt to make an arrest, it's a civilian arrest.
So let me ask you,
police officers.
What state are you in?
I see what you're saying.
California.
You're in California. Okay, so it's a different state. But let me give you this information. I'm a chief of a police department. Okay,
right.
And I can tell you right now, if an officer is out off duty and out of uniform, he is not looked at as an authority for law enforcement. He is not. There's no way you could tell that. So he can't charge you. He can go back and charge you afterwards for something that you may have done, but he can't charge you for not listening to his authority if you are not looked at as a police. If you don't have your uniform on, you're not identifying yourself. You don't have any identification.
You have your badge, sir. You have your badge.
Diesel, here's my question. Here's my question for clarification, for my edification. Off-duty officer finds you in the commission of a crime, apprehends you while in the commission of that crime. Can he officially arrest you?
No, not. Yes and no. He can, but he would have to. He would have to call a uniformed officer to come and take you into custody and take you to the jail.
Correct.
Then that ununiformed officer would go down to the jail and file the charges.
Okay. Does that work the same for detectives because they're not easily identifiable?
Well, a detective is supposed to have, unless they're working narcotics, a detective is supposed to have their badge on with their gun on and be able to be easily identified while they're working on duty.
Oh, okay. So they don't have
So is an off-duty cop.
Visible. Okay.
Please,
no, he's not.
When you please,
you don't carry your badge as an off-duty police officer.
It's not readily available for people to see.
My dad is also an officer as well, so I will ask him too, right? Because this, if you look at what I'm presenting back, because I'm just looking. I said, are off-duty cops supposed to call local law enforcement if they suspect a crime? Short answer, usually yes, but it depends on the situation, state law, and department policy. Now, I didn't say off-duty ICE agent. I said cop, just to clarify, right? Because there's a difference between the two. Off-duty cops are still cops. Most states consider sworn officers to have law enforcement authority 24/7, even when off duty. That said, department policies are often limit what officers are supposed to do while off duty. Standard expectations.
Understand what I'm saying? I don't think you're trying to listen to what I'm saying.
Bro, let me finish what I'm reading.
That's exactly what I said.
No, you said they have civilian rights. That's not true.
Oh my God!
Let him finish. You said it's the same as a civilian when they're off duty.
Y'all ain't got to jump. Y'all ain't got to jump.
Listen. This is a very important part of the conversation that we're all trying to understand. Let's cut down the commentary. Let's go through what's being read, right? So we can properly understand what was said and what we're reading if those two things align. All right. So Cheek, start from the top, please.
All right.
Bring it back up. Sorry.
Here's the prompt. Are off-duty cops supposed to call the local law enforcement if they suspect a crime? Short answer, usually yes, but it depends on the situation, state law, and department policy.
Okay.
Here's how it generally works in the U.S.
Sorry, Chief, interjection here. I don't like the prompt.
Okay, let's change it. What do you want to change?
Because as it pertains to the situation that we're assessing, Cheek, is the reason why. Because based on what the news report said, Cheek, he had a gun, a long gun in California, you see, and it was out already. So
yes,
would the prompt be better if it was in the commission of a crime? You see?
Sure, I'll look it up.
No, I'm not trying to pull it up. I'm trying to get the most accurate response from the AI. That's all. Based on what we're assessing from Travis Porter or whatever his name. Sorry.
The only thing I'm trying to determine is the protocol for a off-duty officer, right? We've already heard Diesel say when you're off duty, you're seen almost as a civilian, as an officer. That's what he just said, right? And now I'm looking something up that says in most states, right? Most state considered sworn officers to have law enforcement authority 24/7. Those two things are in contradiction, at least to me. And then it says even when off duty. Now, with that being said, although they have law enforcement authority 24/7 off duty, there are limits. That said, department police often limit what officers are supposed to do while off duty. Standard expectation, call local law enforcement. In most situations where an off-duty officer suspects a crime, the expectation is call 911 or the local police department. Act as a good witness, not the primary responder. Now, my question
why
is,
you think you
okay? So now let's go.
You're just going on. You about to read the whole thing.
Let me do it. So
Jeez,
now and this is why suspect is uberly important. That's why I wanted to change the verbiage, because this man had a gun out when he's not supposed to have a gun out.
Right.
That crime is easily identified. Do I need to drop y'all down? Let me know. This is important, right? So come on. And then once we let the floor back, then we can give opinion and commentary. That's why I was so staunch with that word, right, Cheeky? Now, what Diesel was saying was, if I'm off duty and out of uniform, I can't expect people to comply with me as though I had a uniform on. So let's say I see you doing something wrong, Cheek, and you have pushback for me. I can't hit you with a resisting arrest because I'm out of uniform. So those expectations aren't the same. That's what Diesel was saying about the off duty and not having a uniform on. Now let's keep reading. Especially true when the crime is non-violent, there's no immediate danger to life, the officer is outside of their jurisdiction, the officer is unarmed with family. So now as we assess the Porter situation, is this exigent circumstances for the Porter situation?
No. What violent?
He has a gun.
What? That's having a gun is not a crime.
Yes, in California, right? Or let's look that up.
Oh my God.
We don't know. That's my point. We don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know. We don't know if he had his permit. We don't know what the circumstance is.
He was shooting it too.
We don't know if he had any of those things. So
he was shooting the gun in the air.
Is that a violent crime?
Yes, because bullets fall down. It's called gravity.
Okay. Do we need to look that up? Shooting a gun in the
Bro,
air is a violent crime.
bro, yo, I can't.
Yes, be quiet. Thank you. Now we need to ask the officer, or we'll look it up. Is shooting a gun?
Listen, you ain't got to tell me be quiet. Thank you. Shooting. Okay, look it up, bro. Look it up. Look it up right now. You just looked up ChatGPT for that other question. Look it up. It's crazy that you have to look this up, and it's like you don't understand what gravity is. I know that you didn't make it past 6th grade in science class, but a bullet comes down with enough velocity to kill somebody.
So here's my prompt. Can you open
That's
carry
ridiculous.
in California? Right, got to be on camera, Lee. As early as January 2026, California generally prohibits openly carrying firearms in public. It's being
that's a crime too,
as we speak. It's being challenged as we speak, but the law prohibits openly carrying firearms in California.
And shooting them off. That's another double.
And
whammy.
shooting them off. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, it's like you don't care about nobody else but making cops look bad. If a little kid got hit in the head, you would never even care. That's all I hear from you.
It's not about making
it's
cops
crazy.
look bad. It's not about
That's
making
all
cops
you're
look bad.
doing, bro. That's all you're trying to do, bro. You've been up here sounding
ice.
crazy. What do you
Again,
mean? He enforces some form of the law. Stop saying he's not a cop. He's ICE. What are you talking about? I just asked
Now,
Diesel
here's the
that
hold on, Lee, before we get to the argument part. And we need to bring this is edification for people, right? We maybe already had a predetermination, but it's 400 people here listening, and we need to understand this thoroughly, right? Because a man died. So I put, is it a violent crime to shoot a gun in the air in California? That seemed like a clean prompt, right? Is it leading?
Yeah, that's it. It's in the area. That makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, firing a gun into the air in California is treated as violent criminal act, and it can be charged as a felony. It is a felony to fire a gun into the air in California under California Penal Code 246-3. It is illegal to willfully discharge a firearm in a grossly negligent manner that could result in injury or death. That includes firing into the air, shooting just to scare people, celebratory gunfire, and this was New Year's Eve, shooting upward on New Year's Eve's birthdays, and etc. So it actually includes that separate from celebratory.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go. So now to go, we can ensue with the commentary. I don't know if Lee was talking, Cheek, Tyson, and I apologize for stopping y'all. I just wanted to get
it makes sense. No, Lee wasn't.
No, that's my fault, man. I apologize.
Yeah, Lee wasn't. He was saying he disagreed and he thinks that my assessment of it is just bad, which that's his opinion. I
wouldn't cheeky.
It's not an opinion, it's a fact.
Hold on, let me
I think your assessment is horrible. I think it's terrible.
Bro,
I think that you going up against a cop is what
Bro, I'll be right back.
I think you going up against a cop as a cop tells you, because I know Diesel is an officer and you're not, tells you the scenario. You're sitting here like going back and forth with him about things that you should know as a civilian. It's just ridiculous. I just think you're anti-American and anti-police.
Lee, that's the problem. The biggest problem with situations like this is, for one, if you've never done the job, you just don't know, right? So you don't know exactly what's going on. I wouldn't say Cheeky is not the type of person just to have just a hatred for a certain profession, right? I think that at the end of the day, Cheeky looks at ICE as not being law enforcement, when in actuality it is law enforcement, right? So cops comes from the word from the law enforcement. It's community oriented policing, right? But even in a local department, you only have a set amount of cops that do the community oriented policing, right? You have traffic units and all that stuff. Everything is under the law enforcement umbrella, right?
Mhm.
So even if they don't have the cop title and that cops is just something that's used as a short term for law enforcement, they're still law enforcement. And that's what we're trying to get you to understand, Cheeky. ICE is still law enforcement. Every federal entity is still law enforcement when you come down to it. They have a law, they have laws they have to enforce.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm disagreeing with the overstep, right? That's
Well,
my problem.
See,
But that's what I'm saying. So Cheeky, let me give you a prime example. So when I visited California, right? I was visiting California. I was still a cop in North Carolina, visiting California. Went to the local department, let them know I was in the area. I was going to be there for about 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I carry a gun because I know how California is with their gun laws. So I just wanted locals to know I was in the area, let them know I was in the area, and that was LEO. Well, I'm walking down the street. This is in Monrovia. I'm walking down the street and I see a guy with a gun in his hand walking around talking to himself. Like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't intervene. I called law enforcement. But what I had to let them know was that I was a cop and that, you know, I was standing by just in case he was to open fire on somebody. Because if he would have opened fire on somebody, I would have felt obligated to react.
To do so, right.
Right. So the same thing that I did in California is just like ICE being in California. It's the same exact thing, right? So I would be still looked at as I don't have any jurisdiction there to enforce any laws. I'm not local to the area, but still, if somebody's getting hurt, I might feel obligated to interact. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for?
Intervene.
Intervene.
And a regular civilian could do that too.
Right. Right.
All right. So
Now,
like if you hear somebody firing a gun and you're actually a officer, whether you're a police officer, whatever, a firefighter, and you choose to run to the call, you got people like Cheeky saying, no, you shouldn't do that. Call the cops. Right now, what if that was a gang shooting? Right. He didn't know what it was. I just think, and I'm gonna make it short, I just think like people like Cheeky are the reason why that white woman was out there messing with the cops. People like Cheeky are the reason why like these people constantly are just they have nothing else to do, and they're sitting here harassing our officers, our ICE agents who are trying to make our country a safer place. And like I blame that woman getting shot in that car on people like Cheeky, honestly, because he's trying to fight every angle. He's trying to every angle. Diesel catches him this way. You hear everybody in the chat like, Cheeky, what you talking about?
How can
firing in the sky? He says, is that a crime? HAMP got to pull it up, bro. You are a terrorist you're a terrorist to America, bro. Men like you are a terrorist to America, bro. Because you like it should like why do we have to look it up on ChatGPT? We should all understand that shooting a rifle into the air, the bullet could come down, go hit somebody. You should be against this man. Instead, you're for him. Instead of the people that's trying to protect the community. This man ran to the call of gunfire, and you're trying to scrutinize him? Is ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous, bro. But every day, and I've heard Cheeky on panel say that he will kill somebody if they try to fight with him. But now, a man running to the call, because Cheeky, he said it, he'll shoot somebody if they try to fight him, right? But a man running to the call, a guy shooting in the air, which is illegal, having an AK rifle is super illegal in California. He's in the wrong. Shoots at the officer. You ain't bringing none of that up. All you want to know is, should he have done that? Bro, look, if you want to say you a coward, just say you a coward. If you want to say, hey, I only shoot black men that try to fight me, I wouldn't have ran into no store to try to help nobody if it's a shooting. I would have ran away. Just say that. Stop trying to make enemies stop trying to like gaslight like the country to go against their law enforcement.
Are you done? I'm assuming yes. All right. So there's a
You
couple of things.
you don't deserve a response. You're a terrorist.
Have you been to jail for assault or anything like that? Just curious.
No, I've never been to jail for assault or anything like that. But you're a terrorist, though.
You ever robbed anybody by your own account?
No, I've never done that. You're a terrorist.
No, you never robbed anybody, put somebody and broke their jaw. You said
Look, here we go. I've never done any of this stuff you making up. You're a terrorist, bro. Look, you're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. All your freedom should be taken from you. You should be thrown in jail for the term of 3 to 4 years. You are a terrorist. You're a terrorist, bro. You're a terrorist. You're the reason why that white woman got shot. Men like you. And you're a coward.
All right.
And you're a coward.
Slow it down. Go ahead, Cheek. What did you want to respond to?
All right, my response.
Yeah, respond.
My response to that is my stance is not that a cop or off-duty officer, right, a local law officer can't step into it. My issue is the federal, including especially ICE, within this time frame, being a prime example of a federal organization that has overstepped boundaries. ICE has existed since Barack Obama's been in office. When has ICE ever operated like this? When have we ever seen them? When have we ever seen them operate in this way?
They listen. I answered that when I first came up here. Let me just say this: ICE, when Obama was president, the blue states were not in open rebellion against the federal government. They are now. ICE,
why?
Well, wait a minute. When Barack Obama was a Democrat, those states agreed with what he was doing. That's why they didn't call people to go to the streets. The reason why we have so much consternation right now in the blue states and the blue cities is because those states and cities are in open rebellion against the federal government. They're telling the cops not to even fucking agree with the detainers. I mean, it causes consternation. They're calling people to the streets, man. It's all over the news. I mean, Pritzker and that the real coon mayor of Chicago, they're doing all kinds of seditious shit against ICE. I mean, they're making these guys.
Wait.
Listen,
that's not seditious.
You said all the stuff you wanted to say. If you look up any chat GBT, a law enforcement is law enforcement. They might not have local jurisdiction, but if they see something wrong, they could be they're well within their rights to do something about it. You know, and yeah, they should call the local cops. But you know, under Obama, ICE didn't have any issues because nobody was protesting. Isn't it funny that you don't think there's any illegals in red states? How come we don't see all of this shit in red states and red cities? Because they agree and they're working with ICE. That's why there's no, that's why there's a big difference.
Of course, it's going to be a big difference.
Yeah, you guys are acting like ICE is working outside of their jurisdiction.
How many presidents?
You can't prove that.
How many presidents have utilized ICE in this way? How many presidents have put the National Guard into a state that didn't request your ask? How many? No. Nobody's moving the goal. Nobody's moving the goal. No one's moving the goalposts. We're taking a massive assessment of this administration and how they deploy and do things. And why?
When you're talking about
nobody was talking when you was talking. Please be quiet. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Yeah. You talk when I was talking before.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cheeky. I mean, you want to go ahead and say your piece. Go ahead and say it. I'm quiet.
Quick question. So, and I agree that ICE was existing during the Obama administration, and they were doing a job. They they kicked out a lot of immigrants during that thing. I forget the numbers, but they were high numbers of being deported, immigrants being deported, right? But the question is, where was ICE moving the same? And if they're not moving the same, is it because of the protests that they're moving different, or are they just moving different because they've been emboldened and empowered by this presidency? That's my question, because it seems like they are moving different. It seems like they are more of a stop and
Tyson, I thought you had a question. You said, it's rhetorical.
Huh?
Oh, because you answering your own question. Did you want like the everybody else to answer? Or you give me.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
Well, no, I wasn't sure.
No, everybody been cooking, but I can't see you. Go ahead.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
I said because this is what I'm listening to the frame, and you said I had a question, and then you asked it and then proceeded.
Well,
to
I was
answer.
just adding some context to the question, but go ahead. Go ahead.
If I can go into a police station and the police agree with the detainer I have on an illegal alien, and I can get them out of the police station or a courtroom, that's a whole lot less consternation if I have to, than for me to have to take 20 officers and get them off the street.
Okay.
That's where the consternation comes from, and that's what's going on. That's a difference. There's one difference between now and when
I want to hear what Diesel had to say about Tyson question, and then Tyson can finish his thought about.
I'm finished.
Okay.
So back when Obama was in, I worked for Homeland Security. I worked on the narcotics side, but we worked in conjunction with immigration because we could only investigate crimes that we knew went over the border, right? So we had to have a nexus of some kind of narcotics coming over the border before we could do an investigation. So we worked close with ICE. The enforcement then was heavy on immigration back then, but now you have a different situation. I think the enforcement is heavy, but the tactics had to change because you had a president that pretty much allowed a lot of illegal immigrants in, and the states that are willing to help hide these illegal immigrants, right? So there's a lot more investigation that goes into finding who these illegal immigrants are, especially when you have some of the, just like Mr. Payne said, you have the sheriff's offices that are not willing to hold these detainers when ICE requests them to hold the illegal immigrant. They'll release them before ICE gets there, right? So tactics had to change when it came to how they enforce the immigration laws when it came to ICE, and it happens all the time. I mean, you just have to change how you do things.
And my next question would be, even though you guys make a valid point of how the tactics have had to change, but are you okay with those and how they're implementing those tactics? Even though they had to change, do you feel they should rise to this level, and how they're deploying themselves?
I do. I do, because at the end of the day, they're enforcing immigration law, right? They're doing their job of enforcing immigration law. If people want to get in the way of that, then you have to change how you're doing something at the time. Like, you're in the middle of investigation of immigration, but then you have to deal with somebody trying to block that investigation, right? So you have to deal with it accordingly. It's hard to say that if nobody was protesting ICE or anything like that, would it be this bad? And I don't think it would. They would just go into the homes of people that they feel like are illegal immigrants and take them off. And because at the end of the day, once they get who they got, they are gone. You don't even see them anymore. They're gone.
I understand that, and if it was clean and concise like that, Diesel, then I have no problem with it. The problem is what I see is, you got American civilians getting caught up in this mix. We have, certain rights that I feel they are kind of stepping on. You can't just come up to me and ask for my ID and do all this stuff. That's against the Constitution, right? Am I wrong?
That has never changed.
Right. So they going into businesses. They going into businesses. They getting American citizens caught up in the mix as well. Would you agree?
Yes. I'm going off of what your question was.
Right.
How they're doing things now. Now, if you say how they've been doing things, I would say, okay, it might be a problem. But that has not ever. They've always gone into businesses. They've always stopped people when it comes to immigration and asked them if they're legal citizens. That's been since I can remember, when I worked Homeland Security.
Right, you can ask, but then you don't. But normally you don't have, as an American citizen, you don't have to answer those questions.
Right.
You don't have to answer those questions. But now they seem very more forceful in getting that information. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think the tactics have changed when it comes to getting that information. Yeah,
and that's the problem that I have with it. You can, if you was going in there and you knew a legal immigrant was working in this business and you went in there and snatched him up, cool, got no problem with it. But if you involve American citizens snatching them up, requiring their ID and all that type of stuff, that's where I had a problem, because that's against the Constitution.
That's part of I think that's part of the collateral damage that you're going to have when it comes to those kind of enforcement.
No, it's against the Constitution, brother. That can't be a collateral damage.
I get that, but that's part of it. I mean, at the end of the day, they are given some leeway into finding out
to break the Constitution. That's a problem to me.
Tyson, let me ask you a question, Tyson. Let me ask you a question on this point. You don't think that the legal American citizens are putting themselves in harm's way?
By working at a business?
No, well, hold on. It's not just the businesses you're talking about. You're saying American citizens are not only being detained at the business, right? They're out in the streets putting themselves between illegal aliens and ICE. They're actively doing that.
No, that's fine, but I wasn't even speaking on that, brother. I'm talking about certain situations where ICE is coming in, raiding certain areas, and asking and jacking it like HAMP said. They asking American citizens, and they getting arrested on warrants. Why are they even being ID'd?
You know, I remember in New York City, they used to have this thing called stop and frisk, right? And I would say, listen, if we're looking at it,
because the law,
the businesses before were letting ICE come get those guys. Now they're putting themselves between them and the people they're protecting. And it only seems that it's worse. That's what I'm thinking, because the American citizens are standing and obstructing justice in those blue states, in those blue cities. There's a lot of I think ICE should have been bumping heads from the beginning.
Let me ask you guys a question. Federal officers, they can detain you. No?
Yes.
We want it to be cut and dry, but we know this shit don't work like that.
Right.
Even when you're being prosecuted, when you go in front of a jury, they have to create reasonable doubt, right? So the law is in black and white, right? The things are in black and white, but they create gray all the time. And I think we have it's like roses and bubbles definition of how these things actually work. They can detain you. They can ID you, right? Because they're literally looking for people who are illegal. You've heard you fit the description your whole life. And now we act like that's supposed to change because it's ICE. I just don't want us to have this outlook, because it just doesn't make sense when you have to actually function in the earth. That's my biggest problem with like how we like assessing this thing.
So there's no issue with what you're saying, right?
Okay.
You're talking about the practical analysis of the situation, which is you a nigga, so just behave because you don't want to be a dead nigga. Sure.
No. That's like how women say basically when you talk. No.
Or whatever the case. What you're saying is we're acting as if the law is actually upheld, or whatever the case, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a little better. Gotta take that.
Okay. The point is, even if that is the case, somebody should hold them into account, right? Just because something is not as black and white as it should be doesn't mean that there shouldn't be any accountability. That is my issue. My issue is these people are getting away with things, and I don't think they're being held into account.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with, well, it says this and he did this. It's more like, hey, what do we know about this investigation? I've looked just like you look. I can't find much on it. I don't know much. I don't know much about it, but yet so many people are saying this dude is in the right. And the real answer is we don't know. No one is saying we don't know. The only thing I'm going is, what about this? What about this? What about this? My question is, hey, if an ICE officer who already has limited authority on duty, if he has limited authority on duty, what he can and can't do, off duty's got to be even smaller. Now, that is a question that should be asked. And go, okay, so what can he can't do? And I'm willing to look these things up. I'm willing to be wrong. You looked it up. California said it's a felon. Now that gives him cause to go and investigate. But now the question is, should he have called the cops before and did what Diesel did before? Or are we saying that shooting in the air is enough for him to go in there, supposedly get shot at? I don't know if it's true. I don't know any evidence. We don't know if these things are true. We keep doing this thing where we keep making judgments or making a final call like the ICE agent's wrong. If you disagree, you're a liberal. That's not the case. I'm just looking at what it is, and I don't think that these people are being held in account. You should be scrutinized for being off duty and then going to investigate something and somebody dies. We need to know what happened there. We can't say he's right We can't say he's wrong either. But what I'm seeing is, if you're on one side, if you're conservative, he's a cop, so he's right. And if you're a liberal, he's a cop, so he's wrong. My stance is, let's look at the things that we look at the things we're looking at. He doesn't have that authority to just go and arrest people like he would if he was local law enforcement. We got to account for that. Is it illegal or a felony to shoot in the air? There is. So that changes my perspective on things too.
Okay. Let me read these, and then we'll go ahead. These as soon as I'm done, you can go jump in. And Tyson, I know Tyson want to say something. Tonio with the $5 says ICE is moving like this because the borders were open for years. Vet Life for the $10 says cut it out already. ICE been moving like this before Trump. Maduro been had a bounty on his head before Trump. Ellipsis. We are only hearing about all these things because of the hatred of Trump. Aaron with the $2 says my favorite cousin get to talk for a full hour. James with the $5 says Lee and Diesel seemed as though they believe everyone should be treated as criminals until proven otherwise. Ellen with the $10 says ICE agents are the law, cheeky. Ellipsis. You don't know what you're talking about at all. ICE agents and police are all authority and are authorized to enforce policy, hence the title police.
Don't get cheeky started.
Oh, Gun with the $5 says Fed officers would sometimes respond to aid calls in large disturbances, cheeky. You can only know what you know. Vet Life with the $5 says, so cheeky, how does an ICE agent arrest illegals that are driving in a house, etc.? They call local. Cut it out, fam. Escobar.
You're responding to that.
Yeah, let me read it.
Yeah.
Escobar with the 20 ball says, this might be risky in panel. Salute. We have to understand the world isn't our rest haven. I'm not so disconnected from this place. However, yet I understand as it is written. The world is given to the wicked. Shalom. James with the $5 says, salute him. Can I read this one? Salute. What's poppin'? James says, looks like people are forgetting we the people are the supposed to be the bosses of these people. Voting matters. DLR with the $10 says, excuse me, if the agent was quote unquote off duty, then it is really an ICE problem or just a problem with that individual agent. Aaron with the $2 says, ICE is acting like the pigs mixed with the military. I read this one, right, Mr. Payne? You didn't. I read this one already, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you read Dark Lake one.
Yeah, I read. Did I just read Dark Lake? This one, right? Yeah, I didn't read this one before. Yeah, this is my first time reading it. You wanted to respond to this one, and then Diesel wanted to say something in Tyson.
Yeah, if you are in a home, ICE agents just can't come in there and grab you without a warrant, a judicial warrant. Just like a cop just can't come in there and grab you without a judicial warrant. Just to let you know. You think they can just kick your door for real? Really?
So this exigent circumstances changes that, as well as if you know somebody has a warrant on their, like an arrest warrant or something like that, then you can, and you know they're in that house, then you can go. Right. You know what I'm saying? So there are a few things that change that, but for the
generally speaking,
right?
Yes.
Generally speaking, yes.
Generally speaking, but ICE can't do that, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, no, ICE can. No, if they have an investigation on an illegal and they see him going to a house, they can go into the house and get him.
I'm not saying going. No. I'm not saying if they see him going to a house. If he's in a home, they can't just open the door. Like if he's
he's in there. No, you can't just open the door just to see if.
Yeah,
you can't do that. No.
Yeah. Now, if you run into a home because you're in pursuit, that's different. But I'm talking about just you think somebody live here and he's illegal. You could just open. No, you can't do that.
Yo, they've been doing that. Like I saw one cheeky to where they was like he lived in an apartment building. So he went in, they followed him in, got in the elevator with him and arrested him. They've been pulling people cars over and yanking them out of cars. Like there's
but okay, so have you seen illegals that are staying in a home get snatched out of a home? Like when they knock on the
you saying without a warrant, particularly?
Yeah, like that's what I'm like. Have you seen that?
I just see those things that are very close to that line. Like they go in his apartment building with him and get him out the elevator.
So you're not inside a home, you're inside the elevator.
It's right there. Like it's kind of different.
But if I'm thinking like you see somebody knock on their front door and be like, we know the illegals in there and just snatch them. I was like, if you see that, send me that video. We got real.
No, I ain't seen that one directly. No.
Oh, so they are following the law.
Yeah,
I said that wrong.
So let me say this, Cheeky. That whole situation with the ICE officer off duty. I've always said I don't know the details. I can't say if he's right or wrong, but I will say is he's acting in the same stance as a regular officer would act. But I want to go. I want to go a little bit further, and let's switch it. Right. Let's say a local officer ran into some illegals. What do you think they're going to do?
Say that you broke up. You said
let's say a local officer stops a car for some reason or whatever, and he finds a car full of illegal immigrants. What do you think he's going to do?
He's probably going to probably pull it over and tell them to detain. How does he know that they're illegal? He just knows that they're illegal.
Well, yeah, there's certain things you know that they're illegal because they carry. Some of them only carry the identifications from their country or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have anything showing that they're actual.
And that's in the act of breaking or committing a crime, like that would be the crime itself, or
no, like they're not driving, they're just in the vehicle with the person. They identify everybody in the vehicle, find out that they're more than likely illegal. I'll say that. I'm not just going to say just automatically that they're illegal.
My guess is they'll probably detain them and call ICE to get.
So that's the same thing. So it's vice versa, right?
Local that's not true.
That's not
Can
true.
you help him?
In the blue states, that's absolutely not true. They're actually expressly told.
We're not talking about blue states, right?
So Diesel, you see what I'm saying?
We're not talking about blue states right now. Let's stay on with the situation that we're on, right?
Yeah, we're here.
So ultimately, lost my train of thought. So
it's all good.
Basically, local law enforcement, they don't have the authority to enforce immigration law, right? So they're going to hold that person until immigration comes and gets them or whatever and does their job. So it's vice versa. ICE is going to have to hold somebody that they say might be in the commission of a crime for local, and local holds for federal. I mean, it just goes, it intertwines. You get what I'm saying? Like it's all the agencies are working together. Right?
No, yeah, there's no disagreement on that. And I understand what you were saying as far as if you're an officer, you're going to have some civil or some ethical obligation to stop and prevent the crime. I don't disagree. I'm not saying that I think it's irrational to think otherwise. My point is, just because you are a law enforcement officer off duty, if somebody's life is taken, now we have to scrutinize what's going on. And I think that's normal. I think it's normal to go, what happened, and scrutinize the situation. The issue that I'm having, Diesel, is what you just experienced is they make it a Republican, Democrat, left. And I'm like, that's not true. We don't have any idea. We don't know anything. I'm looking things up. I'm like, hey, what's the situation? Because I'm not the person to believe, oh, he's black and he's dead. So
So basically you're saying you're doing the same thing that I'm doing in a sense, but I'm just not vocalizing it, right? Because I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to say he was right or wrong until I get some more information. Right?
Exactly.
So you're basically going to say
that approach.
I got you.
You never took that approach. You never said this is a Democrat thing and Democrats are doing. You didn't do any of that. You took your stance as a law enforcement officer or your experience with that, and all I did was challenge it, right? And where I was wrong, I was wrong. Shooting in the air in California is a felony. I was wrong. I thought otherwise because you're not harming anybody. But the fact that the trajectory, I get that, right? I don't mind being criticized. That was dumb, whatever. But now I know it's in good faith. Our pain is doing the complete opposite. He keeps saying Republican.
Well, you know what? When I say that, you now you mention my name. I'm saying it because the discretion is a part of this stuff. They have the discretion is being, tainted by what position you're in, and to ignore that means you're ignoring what's going on right now. So nobody just look away. Wait, hold on. Listen. I'm not disagreeing with what you and Diesel was saying, but in the real world that we're in right now, the discretion for those police who stop a car full of illegals, it depends on where you are, how they're going to act. It just does. And to say, listen, if you've not been following this, that's why you're saying what you're saying. I'm saying that in certain states, they are not allowed to use their immigration status to detain them. In some other states, they are. So it's not.
That's not true.
Doesn't matter.
That's not true. And that's
true. It's
The
absolutely
issue
true.
is
Hold on.
the issue is you're spreading propaganda. And you're spreading propaganda that's not true. As local state enforcement, you can, what you can do.
Jiggy,
You
you
don't have.
finished talking, right?
You do not have
say
to.
it's not true. Let me say why it's true.
You cut me off because I said our pain.
Bro,
You said my name.
Tell you that those police officers cannot hold those illegals on detainer for ICE because they're not cooperating with them, and they're not going to turn them over. That's a fact.
They can't stop.
Johnson says that himself almost all the time.
Cheeky, he's right. He's right, Cheeky.
He's right about what? What part?
So there are some departments that have made rules and told their officers, we will not hold any illegal immigrants under a detainer.
And you don't, you don't, and that's, as a state, you don't have to do that. You have the option to cooperate or not. That's part of the rules. You can.
No, because it's not a state law. It's a federal law. So the state can say you can't enforce any federal law anyway. So the state can't say you have to enforce this federal law or you can't enforce this. They can't do it anyway. So what they're going to say is we are not going to have anything to do with this federal law. That's what they're doing.
But
they're making it as.
But again, the state itself and the local law enforcement can say we're not aiding ICE in anything. They have the right to do that. Y'all do
They can say the opposite.
They can say that, or they can say the opposite. We're going
opposite is what we're saying.
The opposite, which
Not
is
everybody.
real help.
Yes.
But that's my point. The point is they're not doing anything that they can't do. They can say we're not dealing with immigration stuff at all. That's not even in, and they have the right to do that. They have the right to do that. All I'm saying is if we're going to sit here and say that the states and practicing their state right to do so is a bad thing, then now we have to look into why they think it's a bad thing. And then we have to look into the administration and how things are happening.
Because you're supporting criminal behavior.
And here's the issue, right? And here's the issue. This is where the political aspect come into it, right? Because the people that are going to sit here and say they support whatever, no, they're taking a stance against something that they think is wrong based off of the person who's enacting it, right? Or the administration that's come against it. And it's already been clarified, you as a state do not have to cooperate with ICE. And if they choose to do so, that doesn't make them wrong or right. It makes them have a stand.
It makes them wrong because they're helping criminals.
Let me just say this. You're right, Cheeky. I agree with you. It's a discretionary thing. That's what I said. But I remember when the CIA wasn't able to talk to the FBI and the trade centers came down. They could be holding some really bad people in those states, not turning them over. And just because of some ideology, that shit is dangerous, man.
Yes. You're endangering American citizens.
Chooses not to deal with other law enforcement. How could we not? It's a choice. I agree with you.
So do we think?
It's a dangerous situation not to do it. I'll shut up.
Endangering American citizens by not apprehending criminals.
Do you think that's not true? Just
it is true.
So if you if you sell weed, right? Does that make you a violent or a threat to society?
That's not the same.
I'm just asking questions, right? As a criminal, just because you're a criminal doesn't make you this international or danger or threat to society, because there are nonviolent criminals just like there are violent criminals.
Yeah.
Right.
But and as you said, the police, if you have weed illegally and weed is in your state and the fucking officer sees you not smoking weed, it's illegal.
That's not the point that I'm making.
I said criminals. I didn't say anything about violence. I said criminals.
I know, and you're saying that. And that's my disagreement, right?
If you're illegal, you can disagree all you want. If you are here illegally, you are a criminal. If you are here illegally, you are a criminal.
No one's disagreeing that illegals are criminals based off of the law. That's not what I'm saying. My point is, if a state decides not to aid ICE in that thing, that doesn't mean that they're hurting the country because they're not rounding up criminals. That's not their job.
They are. It's been too many occasions where violent criminals were not apprehended here in Georgia specifically. The girl, they had a fucking thing to where they had apprehended somebody and released them. These people migrate to other things. You can't keep up with them because they're not in an actual system. They're not being tracked. And then they're violent criminals, bro. So they're cheeky. You're on the wrong side of this. There's too many things to the contrary. You are. Because I have proof. I have several instances of proof, national news, and this is why they're able to run this and push this is where they are to where these people are violent criminals and they are apprehended in, let's say, a Chicago, or they're apprehended in a California. They're released out on bond or whatever, even in violent crimes, and then they commit a higher crime and take somebody's life or delete somebody otherwise, bro. So again,
Right. What are you saying? Are you saying that the immigrants that ICE is detaining, all of them are violent criminals?
I never said that. I said this is what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna say it again. You're a criminal on the onset who shouldn't be here. You shouldn't even be here. So that's another thing.
It's not because they're just criminals. It's because they're criminals.
Yeah,
and
you're here illegally. You shouldn't even be here. You should not even be an equation or a factor to the American public. You are here illegally. Once that is discovered, you're supposed to be put in the system, given your due process, and gotten the fuck out of here if you're deemed to be. And I won't say 90%, but I'll say definitely majority of the time you're not deemed to be
out of here.
You should be the fuck out of here.
Right. Now, do you think that the way or the process in how you do that particular thing, like deporting people or taking people out of the country, do you think that process, if it's not done correctly or sloppily or causes issues where you send somebody to a country they don't belong to, do you think that will prevent or have some type of way on whether or not a state wants to help you?
No, that's a scapegoat. That's an excuse.
And if that's your thoughts on it, we just disagree there, right? I think that the process in and of itself, right, because we didn't have this issue with ICE under any administration besides this current. They're the most emboldened. They're the most, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call this is the most we've ever seen them of this. And everybody before now has never had an issue with cooperating with ICE before now.
Yeah, because they didn't have a problem with it. Was not the president wasn't deemed the enemy of the fucking country. This is purely political.
Wait.
I don't even know. I don't even hold on. Let me finish.
Okay,
I don't even know if I still don't think. I still don't think Trump is caught up with Obama. Obama's had the most deportations ever.
No, it didn't. Fantastic. That's a lot of people don't understand. Under the Obama administration, they deemed deportation as a refusal to enter. They cooked the books. Anybody they were refusing to enter the country, they deemed it as a deportation.
Oh wow.
Okay, so they didn't even let them in, so that's why it counted as a deportation.
That's why it counted as and it's not. Obama did not deport more people than.
It's
than
not a
Trump.
one.
So it was a denial then. So it
was denial. It wasn't a deportation.
I got you. Okay, so let's go with that, right? So even still, whenever he was doing that, he was doing that shit or whatnot, what have you, nobody cared. Those tents that everybody was talking about and the motherfucking metal blankets, them tinfoil blankets, Obama built those camps. Nobody cared. It was not a big deal. But once you got into the propaganda, shout out to Cheeky for bringing this up, the importance in the power of propaganda, Trump bad, Russia this, Russia that, and all this other bullshit. Now anything Trump does is fucking bad, when clearly it's not. The deep immigration laws are important, bro. Border laws are extremely important. All right. So once you fucking take this rule away that the whole world operates by, Cheeky, you know this shit. Hell, you take your ass to motherfucking Colombia, take your ass to motherfucking China, take your ass to any of these other, overstay that visa and they come across you. What they gonna do, Cheeky? Extradite your ass to the closest fucking embassy, whatever the fuck they can do, and get you the fuck up out of the country, bro. You gonna be in jail until that happens. So I don't know why we as Americans are fighting so hard to do what the whole rest of the world is doing when it's doing nothing but fucking negative shit for us. Of course, you're right. Every criminal isn't violent. Every criminal isn't whatever. But y'all ain't even giving niggas this. Y'all love y'all. This is crazy to me. They ain't giving. They don't give a damn. They're separating them from their children. I ain't never seen them not lock a nigga up because he had kids. Never.
Wait, but you're presenting something.
I gotta get Timothy in too. Just be cognizant.
Yeah, for sure. My issue, or the issue that people are having, is not the fact that people are just being deported to be deported, or that Trump just bad. The issue is what's being done and how it's being done. Even HAMP, who's not leaning either way, he's just looking at it and going, yeah, they kind of wilding. Like we have not seen this before. So at that point in time, if you have an ethical or some kind of moral stance as a state, or the people within that represent your state, and say, we're not going to aid in this behavior, that makes sense to me. Now, you could disagree all you want, say, well, that's a net negative because fine. But I don't think that's I don't have an issue with that, because it makes sense. Just like I would be against somebody, the president or anybody, enforcing the state to deploy their own National Guard, and they don't want it as the governor. That's something that's unconstitutional. There are things that are happening that are unconstitutional, and no one's addressing, and that aids in the reason why other states don't want to help you. Like, that makes sense to me. If you start doing things that are not that are unconstitutional and go against the foundation of what you believe the foundation of the country to be built on, I will understand why, as a state, if you go, well, look at what he's doing here. No, we don't want to help you.
I'm just asking. Just quick interjection. Then we can go to the next. What was the unconstitutional things that was found to be done? I'm just curious.
The first one was when Gavin Newsom had the issue in L.A. when he had the issue and Trump deployed the California National Guard against the will of the governor. That's already a violation.
They found that to be in Trump's favor. Trump won that. What are you talking about?
They did not. That's not true, bro.
Trump did. Trump won that.
I'm gonna pull it up. That is not true. I'm gonna pull that up for sure. Because I remember
my understanding is they said exactly that, where the president has control over all the National Guard, because the National Guard is under Department of Defense, and he can deploy them at his will. That's my last
to protect federal property in those states.
Yeah, and protect federal property in those states. Yes, he won that case, Cheeky,
because they told the cops not to.
If you find a workaround with the Illegal Alien Act or those things that he's been trying to do to enact that is a problem.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the law. It's the law. Cheeky, it's not a problem. If it's the highest court of the land says, hey, it's a technicality, but it's legal, it is legal. There is no right or wrong. We're not you're trying to put morals into legality, bro. That's what this is, and it's all things about feelings. Fuck the feelings. It's not about feelings.
Wait. So if that's the case, and if I'm making that mistake of putting morality in front of legality, then states not helping has no real issue. There's no problem. What argument is that? There's no legal issue with that, because what they're doing is they're allowed to do.
Right. That's true.
Okay, so
you know what, Cheeky, I think blue states
are we moving past morality, or are we dealing with morality? Because the issue I'm having is
morality. We can stay
we'll move past morality. He could do what he did, and states could do what they did, and we'll just leave it at that. Well, let's just deal with from here on out. From here on out, just to have a consensus on how we're going to have these conversations. No more moral conversations about what's legal, about what's moral. Let's just deal with what's legal. States cannot help with ICE, and they're not doing any, and there's nothing wrong with that.
One of the things that I think
don't have to help, but at the same time, states can't
have the sanctuary.
They're legal. It's legally able to do that, and we can just move on, and that's fine. And I'll just keep my arguments legal, and y'all keep your arguments legal as well.
I don't think that we should have ever had sanctuary states. I think that's unconstitutional. It should have been challenged in the courts.
Is that legal?
It should have been challenged in the courts.
Is it legal?
Well, it hasn't been challenged yet, Cheeky. That's what he's saying. Until it's get challenged and we see if it's determined.
No. Illegal or illegal? If you look at the way our country is set up, you could challenge shit, right? I mean, the levers of government, I believe, work pretty well. The balance of power, if you don't like something, you can actually get a challenge if you get a judge that wants to challenge it. And it goes up to the Supreme Court. That's how that happens. If you overstep your boundaries as an executive, they challenge it in court. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Right now, Trump
are legal under
all right. Y'all got it, because y'all told y'all about Timothy and y'all ignored him. That is not going to happen to Will. Will, what's popping?
Salutations. What up, though?
What's going on, man? What you think, man? They've been fighting for 2 hours, man.
Sanctuary states is constitutional per the 10th Amendment.
Okay.
And
what did you think about the overarching convo? I was reading the chat, so I know you had a lot of insight. What you think?
I appreciate Cheeky for raising his points, but the main thing I was just really saying in the chat was, like, when I look at what the police is doing and the scope of why they are doing that specifically, they're doing that because they want to make it a political fight against Trump. This is all about Trump. That's all it's really against. They are willingly protecting illegals just because they don't want to go along with Trump's will. That's all it is.
Damn. So y'all, and let me ask, so Diesel shaking his head, Mr. Fantastic, you agree with Sel in that aspect about the angling and the exception is because it hits Trump in some way, shape, or form?
Yes, that's what all this is. If you that's the sad part about this, HAMP. But yes, in all terms, yes.
Now, do you think that Let me ask: is Cheeky? But you're not putting Cheeky in that pot, are you guys? Or are you?
No,
Sal?
I'm not saying Cheeky is on the side. I know Cheeky isn't on the side politically. I think Cheeky is arguing in good faith, whether he believes it or not, and he's challenging the narrative or whatever it may be. He's challenging that, and that's what Cheeky does. I'm not saying, I know for a fact Cheeky isn't a liberal or Cheeky isn't whatever. What I'm saying though is, as much as Cheeky's talking about propaganda, he said a couple of things, he switched up and he was majorly wrong about the Supreme Court case. He's wrong about that. And then even when I came in the door and he was arguing with Mr. Payne about the cops. I forget what the direct thing was, but he was wrong about something else. And that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm not saying that he
was it the felony for California shooting there.
No. It was something. It was right before I came up, but whatever it was, just something to where, from a legal standpoint,
it was the detainers about.
Oh, the state. Yeah, well, that's what it was. He was telling you, in some states they help, some states they hurt, and you were saying it was like irrelevant or some shit. So that's what I was saying. So it's not across the board because they made it political, is what I'm saying.
Let me ask. So, what's the benefit of them trying to angle it at Trump? Like, what do they think they're gonna get done by making this about Trump? Like, what? I just saw a video where he mad that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. He don't give a damn. Like, what? I don't understand why they keep angling that. He doing whatever is in his power to do, and then when it gets shut down, he don't admit it. He just like, well, they ain't agreed. Like, he just be like acting like that show he had where the black girl won it.
Yeah, there's two sides to this. Trump is the ultimate troll. Well, we can never sidestep that part. He's always a trollster. But the more serious thing is that this goes back to the Democrats being mad at Trump because he left the Democratic Party. And when he left the Democratic Party and he became the president, like, if you pay attention, like y'all was talking about the thing with Obama, right? Democrats was highly heavy on immigration. They was the ones that hated immigration the most until Trump became president. Then they flipped all of a sudden. You can go back and look up all the videos of Democratic Party leaders and senators and congressmen. They hated immigration. And then when Trump came into office, he was like, well, since y'all hate immigration so much, I'm gonna do something about it. In 2019 and 2020, it was quite a few congressmen and senators that was like, if Trump was a real president, he would go get Maduro. So then when Biden was in office, he raised the bounty to, he raised the bounty to $50 million. So what did Trump do? He went and got Maduro. What did Democrats do? They turned around and said he was wrong for going to do it. Well, which one is it? So now you look at the scope of how things really run. They don't want Trump as president. That's what it really boils down to. They really don't want Trump as president. They're doing anything and everything they possibly can to just not. They want to impeach him because they really want to blame January 6th on. I find it funny. A lot of people was protesting about this Renee No Good, but they didn't protest about this black brother. They didn't protest about Ashley Babbitt. They didn't protest when all of these illegals was around here violating these children and deleting these women. They wasn't ready to protest. But now all of a sudden, this woman puts herself in the midst of an ICE investigation because they're a part of this ICE watch thing. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants to jump in front of the poll line and say, this is all Trump's fault. How is this Trump's fault? This is your fault.
Wow. Let me hold on, Chief. I gotta get Timothy in because Timothy has great decorum, so he's not gonna just interject. I gotta put him in the conversation. Timothy, what's going on?
Salute to the panel. I would just like to say Cheeky has a good point. I'm gonna go on the things that I can prove because I went to FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, when I was at active duty, and DHS and the president made one big mistake. They spoke before an investigation started. They told this woman, we can nit officer. Oh, shoot. We can nitpick the officer for causes of created jeopardy. And yes, he had the right to shoot, but he made some mistakes as well. But you don't start talking about that kind of stuff before an investigation starts. And that's where you can politicize an issue. That's where mistakes can be made. You can say no comment. You could say it looks like this, but we're going to wait for more information. They did politicize this to a point. They could have said nothing and started the investigation. So that was just my comment on the whole thing.
May I impose a counter to that?
Just real quick, I need one point of clarification. So, Timothy, which case are you talking about?
Renee Good. They started commenting on it right away before they had an investigation going,
which is a mistake. And the they is the ICE, they is ICE, they is the government. Who's the they?
No, DHS and the president.
Oh, okay.
Christy Nome made a public service announcement, and Trump posted on Truth Social.
That was a mistake. I agree with that. Well, she did it on purpose, but it was bad form.
Well, here's the thing. Like we can't forget that politicians are human beings, because human beings has this problem where they like to jump in front of the bullet before they recognize the gun. Same thing happened with that young boy down there in Texas, Carmelo Anthony. The first thing everybody said after that case even made national news, the first thing they said was he was innocent because of self-defense. Well, no one even got to that point yet. And then the pastor, I can't remember his name, he came out and made a statement about it as well. It's just like, why are y'all comments on this? Why are you having your publicist speak on this? And the things that you're saying is not matching up. So everybody's a human being. Everybody wants to make some type of they want to solicitate a situation just so they can get some recognition.
Mm-hmm. The difference is those people aren't going to be involved in the chain of the investigation. Those people are just speaking out and giving their opinion. If that investigation is going to hit my desk, I have to be careful about what I say, no matter where freedom of speech lies.
I can agree with you, but now what you're saying is that, so if you're a government employee or if you hold a position in office, your speech should be compelled. So you don't have the right to First Amendment.
No, not in an investigation standpoint. So for an example, when planes crash and they start that accident investigation board, you'll notice they'll go to no comment and they won't talk about it anymore. It's the same for most federal investigations. You have to, there's certain things you can't talk about. It's kind of like a gag order.
That's with any investigation, like any investigation that comes on my desk. I don't speak on it until after I have all the details. Period.
I think honestly, because I like things to be chaotic, I think everybody should be able to say and do what they want to do and let the consequences fall where they fall. That's just me though. Like if you
consequences behind that though, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, way too many consequences. Because your word, the problem is that the word of the president could cause mass destruction, right?
Trust me, I know.
And so you don't want that to be based on something that he didn't know.
Correct. But now we get to the other side of that coin. So this president has been pretty much publicized in the most slanderous way that you can think of ever since the moment that he took office, or even before when he announced that he was running for the office, right? And a lot of these things, they were saying that, he was breaking the Constitution, he did things illegally, all this, that, and the other. They keep on taking him to court, they keep on trying to impeach him, they keep trying to do everything up under the sun. And yet we're supposed to think that he's not a human being as well, right? So he's going to make mistakes. I don't agree with everything that Trump's do. But at the end of the day, when it falls down to it, this situation that people, this angst that people have against ICE, where was all of this energy when ICE was doing this thing since 2003 when they first was created? It's just now funny that in 2025, 2026, that people just all of a sudden have a big problem with ICE. This is nothing new that they're doing. If anything, I would say that in their infancy, when they was rounding up kids and putting them in camps with metal blankets, people should have been outraged then. Oh, my bad. They was outraged. It was the Republicans that was outraged that Obama was doing that. And then when Trump came into office, it flipped. My bad. I forgot.
Real quick, I just thought he said Obama wasn't doing that though, and ICE wasn't doing that. Those were all they were just getting people at the border and turning them back. Now we're saying that ICE was doing the same things they're doing now. So which one is it?
So ICE's job is not just immigration. You gotta understand that's customs and enforcement, right?
Well, that's
so
okay.
Go ahead. You got it.
No, I mean, but that's what we're speaking to right now. We're focusing on the immigration aspect of what they're doing right now. You know, like you said, ICE been doing their thing, but I think the issue people are having is the way they're moving within America and rounding up these civilians, which the brother earlier said Obama really wasn't doing. It was all false numbers. They was really just turning people away from the border.
Let's look at the scope of how things is moving politically, right? How things is moving politically is that you have to recognize when Biden was in office, we had literally, I'm not going to say an open border. I would say we had the most least secure border ever in this country. And during that time, we allow all of these people to just come into this country. But they had a time limit. They had an expiration date. They could only be here for so long. Their plan is that they was hoping that Biden was going to get reelected. Biden fell out of the race. He put Kamala up there. They told all of these illegals at the border, vote for the white man in blue. The problem is they put a black woman up there. And this black woman identified as Indian, but sometimes she was black. But still at the same time, she cooked her greens in the bathtub. So all of these illegals is like, y'all told us vote for the white man in blue, so we voting for the white man in blue. Well, it just so happened President Trump was wearing blue, so they voted for President Trump. So then now this expiration date comes about, and it's like, all right, it's time for y'all to get out the country. Y'all need to leave. Tell me that Trump did not offer these people a free ride home with pay. They was offered on multiple occasions. We will send you home and pay you to go home, and they wouldn't. So now we get to the scope of where we are right now. You have police officer departments and mayors and governors telling the president of the United States of America on a mainstream media platform that's broadcasted all around the world that we will not follow the will of the American people who voted in a president that we don't like. So we're more than willing to aid and abet illegals who are in the country wrongfully just because we don't like Trump. That's what this boils down to. It's been a political stunt from the beginning.
Hey, so it's not just me believing what's going on.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. The other side of the coin is also, the side of the coin, not on the face. On the side of the coin is they was dependent on these illegals to become the new voting base because they're getting away from the black community as voters.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
So y'all know, I think I remember this number, but I think ICE has grown 120% since Trump came into office.
Second office.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's been expanded from a point we've never seen before.
Absolutely. Right. So you would have to understand that you're going to see a lot more agents if it grows 120.
Absolutely.
Which would make sense as to why people have an issue with ICE now. They're seeing more of it and their actions and behaviors on display, where it wasn't the same as before.
Hey, Cheeky, can I raise the point?
But see, hold on one second. I just want to say this one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So the problem with what you're saying is that it grew 120%, but even when Obama was in, there were task force officers that worked for ICE that did the enforcement. Because they were wearing a local patch, they were still given the ability to enforce that immigration law. You know what I'm saying? So it might have.
There's no disagreement there, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know what the correlation of numbers is. I don't know if they just replaced those task force officers with actual agents, or if they have the task force officers and then added on top of those task force officers.
I think what I'm saying is the reason why there'll be more complaints is because you see them more, right? Like it's hard to complain about something you don't see. You know what I'm saying?
You
absolutely. I think 130%, and I'm like, damn, who this nigga? He don't got nothing. He's masked up. We ain't never seen this before.
Hey, Cheeky, you know how much you're right. You're so right that the Democratic Party was the main ones that was chanting defund the police after the Summer of Love in the city of Chaz. After the whole situation with George Floyd, after what happened with Jacob Blake, after what happened with a lot of people, their main cry was defund the police. Now their main cry is defund ICE. They want to get rid of anything that's too much there. They don't like authority.
Yeah, Marxist and communist and anarchist ideology. That's all Antifa is. And America, like I said, that's why I left with my thing. Yuri Bezmenov told you, ideological subversion. Americans don't care anymore. Americans don't like America. Americans think that people that should even be here in third world countries that do nothing but take from the economy, take from the public, endanger the public, or somehow, some way good for the public in any way, shape, form, or fashion. At best, it could be neutral, but we know that's not true. It's a net negative across the board. Okay, you flood the country with millions of people who you can't track. You don't know who's there. And Cheeky, again, with your background, you understand the dangers of terrorist threats and people from China and fucking the Middle East and all this other shit, bro, came through those borders, bro. They haven't even recovered or gotten to a lot of these people. So again, that's what I'm saying, bro. I don't see how there's a fight on only but one side as an American for this, and especially you as an American citizen jumping out here protecting people that's not protecting you. It's got nothing to do with you and don't care about you.
Cheeky, you got an intelligence background?
I think it's not, again, I don't think people are disagreeing with deporting people who are not supposed to be here, but there's a way in how you do that, right? And the issue that people are going to have, right? Because while y'all are saying this, y'all saying humans will be logical now. Y'all know they're not supposed to. There's Asian intel. They all kind of people could have gotten through. And matter of fact, all kind of people did, right? What was the Asian honeypot girl that got I'm not disagreeing that there should be a secure border, nor am I disagreeing that we should have or disagreeing with an open. I don't want an open border. That's not my stance. My stance is how you apply these things and how you determine to do these things as the administration is definitely going to determine whether or not people approve or disapprove. The issue, the things we're going to have is you can't override people looking at something and going, this looks wrong. And the explanation is they have absolute authority to do so.
All right, so what we're saying is, let me say this, and then you got a will, and then we go to Diesel. So this is what I'm saying, bro. The problem is there's only been scrutiny one time, and that's the point that Will and everybody else is making, bro. Because Trump is involved, now there's a fucking microscope on it, like nothing else. And there's going to be something wrong with it regardless. There is no right way for Trump to do this shit because Trump is involved. So even though it's something that's positive, it's going to work out in the good for the American people because Trump is behind it, quote unquote. And that's the way the media is framing it. And that's the way and all these extremists are framing it. This is why everybody's looking at it so crazy. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up, bro. Cheeky, they made a law here in Florida, and other states are about to pick it up to where now they put it in the state constitution. If you're within a certain area of cops, you can lock the fuck up. Okay, they're not playing these games.
Say it if you're in the
if you're within a certain amount of feet of the office.
Yeah.
Like the radius. Okay, because people get in the way.
No warning, no whatever. I can lock you the fuck up. It's my discretion to, but if you get within that fucking what's name, Cheeky, we're seeing people. Me and you, all of us, black men. If I went up to a motherfucking police car and well, hell, let's talk to the subject matter expert, Diesel. If I unprovoked come up to your police fucking cruiser and bang on your fucking window, can you lock me up?
Yes.
All right. So we have tens and hundreds of people not only impeding but banging on official what's the name incapacity, Cheeky, and they not getting locked up.
Did y'all see that video?
That was a mistake by the
administration to begin with. Y'all seen that video they had the other day where the protesters were standing outside the ICE facility and they decided to rush the door and ICE had to come out there with their weapons drawn and people was like, oh my God, they pointed a gun at me. It's just like,
and they should have shot him, right? We agree.
No, I wouldn't say shoot them because all they did was just rush the building. They didn't physically assault anyone. But the thing is,
okay, but let's say they did assault somebody. Do you think they should have shot him?
Yes,
leg shot. Yes. Yeah.
Well, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Because this was in Minnesota, and this is where people need to like really do the investigation. That's Tim Walz's fault. What happened with that white girl in Minnesota? That's Tim Walz's fault. Minnesota 609. That's his fault. He the one that made it legally. He the one that made it obligatory choice for the police to defend themselves using lethal force if they are assaulted. That's Tim Walz's fault. So the fact that Democrats is out here protesting, they got the whole country up in the uproar just because this woman who hit this man clearly on the video with her car, she got what she got. She earned what she earned. And that ICE agent was put in that position all because of what Tim Walz did. And the same thing, I know this is kind of a different case, but it's kind of the same legal standard. But when you look at something like Breonna Taylor, the Breonna Taylor case, but I'll just give you a quick recap. The Breonna Taylor case was her boyfriend was inside the home. He's a legal firearm owner, and that is his domicile. And the police was banging on the door. Well, when the police kick the door off the hinges, he don't know who it is. He has a right to use his firearm to defend himself. But also, the police have a right to shoot back. So that state, what they did was they allowed a legal gunfight, and the winner is the person who survives. The only person that died in that was Breonna Taylor. Unfortunately, nobody got charged except for that one officer who shot against the window. So, like, if people have a problem, and Cheeky, this is what I wanted to ask you about. If people have a problem with how things are done, then what would be your opposite? Like, in this situation, hold on, let me get the question. So, in the situation with ICE, their job right now, they're being moderately tasked with going after illegal aliens. You saying that you have a problem with how they're doing it. My question to you is, how can ICE effectively do their job if American citizens are purposefully harassing and obstructing their job?
Is that a question?
That's the question. That's the question. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that would have to be observed, right? Just because the issue that people are having is you're saying I can identify, or you're trying to identify illegal immigrants, and the way that you're doing is going, you're brown or you're Mexican looking. Stop. People are gonna have a problem with that. Just generally speaking, do they not have a system to already know, like, or to know what's going on, or to identify somebody besides going, you're brown, just stop, give me your ID, do this? And then when people say, hey, I'm a citizen, and they try to show with their license, or getting put in the back of the car, just to realize that, oh, here, you a citizen, drop them off right where you left, and you didn't drop them back off where you supposed to bring, where he got captured. You dropped them off a mile, 50, however far. That's not, and that's citizens experiencing that.
Okay, so how does ICE, in your opinion, how would ICE effectively do their job or their task with going after illegal aliens when American citizens are purposely shielding these illegal aliens?
How are they shield? I don't understand what you mean by they're shielding them. By protesting?
No. Hold on, wait. Not our pain. Let's not go there.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, I got you. But here's what they're doing. When they go to do their job, when they go to complete their task of rounding up someone who they suspect or who they have tracked to be an illegal alien, you have political people jumping up saying things against the president. You have people who have this thing. You have Minnesota Ice Watch. Every state in America has a social media page called Ice Watch. Just type in the state and then Ice Watch, and it'll come up. What these people are purposefully doing.
No. Okay, I see what you're asking. You're saying, how is there an effective way to get this done if there's always some level of impediment by people?
You have the illegal aliens.
Yeah.
And then
here's what I would say. Mm-hmm. You run into that issue because of what you did beforehand. This could have been avoided. This could have been avoided simply had you done the right proper things. Like, for example, if you're sitting here, if you're going to say somebody is an illegal immigrant or whatever the case, and you have no reason to think so besides they're Mexican, and then when you pick them up and you drop them off, it's in a totally different location, and you don't give a fuck about what they do. You just push them out of the car. Here you go. Throw your shit. Throw your wallet and whatnot. Now you're giving an image to the people. We're not gonna help assholes.
How do I'm still asking the same question? How do you effectively do your job? You're an ICE agent, and you go out there, and there's a shield of people obstructing you from doing your job. What, in your opinion, what is the effective method that an ICE agent can complete their task when American citizens are thrown?
You need to build up ICE relations to the people again, almost like any officer would in whatever the case may be. You can't sit here and be acting like an asshole, treating American citizens as assholes, and then expect the people around in that neighborhood to be like, well, we'll help him. He treated the American Mexican citizen correctly. He didn't throw his wallet and throw his shit all on the ground and put him in a totally different area. He didn't kidnap a 15-year-old that was at Target. Right, like y'all are now combating. So here's the issue: you're asking a question that seems very logical, but the issue is we're dealing with illogical people or things. It'd be very easy if every human being was calculated and emotionless and had no level of empathy and said, well, you know what, you're illegal, so it don't matter if that happened, that just happened. But unfortunately, for the people that y'all are talking about, which to y'all, unfortunately, I guess, they care. You can't just kidnap somebody, take them, find out they're a U.S. citizen, move them from miles where they were, drop them off, leave them in the spot you was, not take them back, and then treat them like an asshole and be like, why are people not helping us?
So building trust, building a relationship.
Stop and frisk.
It is stop and frisk, but except for it's it's indiscriminate. So you look.
So the thing is, building trust and building a relationship takes time, right? Which, and by that instance, we will have to acknowledge the fact that people are purposefully aiding and abetting these illegal aliens or these people who are in this country illegally, and we're going to give them more time on top of what it is that they've already been here for. So my question then would be, how comfortable are we with illegals being in this country, regardless of how people may feel about it? How comfortable are we with them continuing to stay here?
Oh shit, ask the farmers. Ask the people that have been saying, hey, when you get rid of these people in bulk, we're hurting because we don't have any workers. Ask them niggas.
So
ask them niggas that benefits from illegal immigrants. See, the issue is illegal. The issue is immigration is more complicated than these niggas is here illegally and they don't add or produce anything that also helps us as well. That's what makes this a little bit more complicated.
That's a fair point. So now the bigger question is, do we just fix the? I'm sorry, did you want to read your super chat? I can wait.
Yeah, let me read these super chats real quick. Nas with the $10 says, do people have the capability to judge what is just with their own frame of reference beyond the law? The overlap I see is ethical due process versus the culture war. Allah. The 20 ball says, Chicky, how much the DNC pay you to defend them on a daily basis? Don't answer that, Chick. Snatch your bread. Why Knows Chronicles with the $10 says, it's not about liking or not liking Trump. Think about Abrega.
Yeah, Abrega Garcia.
Abrega Garcia. It's a lawlessness and lack of due process. No hearings and not listening to judges. Unconstitutional. Aaron with the $2 says, free Relly until she's free. Relly voice matters. Ellen with the $2 says, Cheeky, how do you kick someone out your house? Violently. Aaron with the $2 says, white people find ways around the law they make every day, B. Vet Life with the $5 says, you're wrong, Cheek, because the law does not apply to them. They're illegal, aka not citizens of these United States.
Yep. Do they not have due process?
They're not.
They're not.
He was still reading.
They do or they don't?
No, I'm done.
He was still. Oh, you done?
Yeah.
So,
did I say something before I leave?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, dude.
I gotta go to work. So, Cheeky, you made a statement that Trump really is the way that they're doing things, and my belief is just like Will said, Trump gave every illegal immigrant a way out. Right? He said, "Go ahead and leave. We'll pay you. We'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. Just go ahead and leave, and then you'll have a chance to come back the right way." Right? At some point, we have to say, "Go get them and take them out." Right? And I think we're at that point right now where it's like we're having to force illegal immigrants out. And with that being said, you're going to have, just like Will said, and just like you have been discussing, you're going to have people in the middle of that. Sometimes it's going to be ugly.
So
most times,
what do you think about the Biden border bill that was, accepted by largely Republicans and Democrats that Trump decided to turn down because he ran on immigration?
So,
well, I think the way that the borders were handled by Biden were just
right.
It just put us in a bad situation, right?
True, right. So, granted, we're in agreement that the way Biden handled the border was not optimal. When it's not the best, right? Agreed. So, in order to fix that, he presents a bill accepted by most Republicans and Democrats, and I think a handful of Republicans and Trump, based off of that, him saying, don't accept this bill because I ran off of immigration, or because that was my. What do you think about that?
I don't really have any thoughts about. I really don't have any thoughts about. So when Trump comes in, when Trump is the president, when the president comes in, they can accept or not accept anything the prior president has done, right? So I don't think because he does not accept or he does accept it. If he does, if he doesn't, that's up to him.
So, but my question is, right? We're asking for solutions. What do we do when a solution was presented and accepted by both, largely by Democrats and Republicans, and the person who is currently, in charge of the nation says, don't accept that because I ran on it, right? What do we do with that?
Well, that's political.
We don't. Okay, so my question is this when it comes to Trump, do you think that this is something he cares about, or is this something that's just political? Because if we're talking about the border, this could have been solved, or at least started in a much better way, had he just done the thing that was agreed upon by both parties.
What was agreed upon? I don't know what was agreed on by both parties.
I think it was
talking about the bipartisan border bill.
Yeah.
Yes, it was HR.
It was a last minute bill before he was going to
HR 3602, right? And let me look it up, right? Because I remember very vividly.
So do I. And Trump wasn't president. He wasn't even in office. He was going to run the next.
Yeah, if he wasn't in office, why would he?
No, again, not. You don't have to be in office to have influence over the.
But still,
over the party that you're running as.
Well,
right?
You made an assertion.
Using your influence.
Using
your influence because you're going to be the primary and you're more likely going to win considering all things and all polls. And you say, don't accept this bill because I'm running on it. And we know that there are people still in office who won't combat what he's saying, who's still under the same influence that he has to a degree, right? It's slipping slowly, but
yeah, but it was the pork, Cheeky. It was the extra shit it wasn't just an immigration bill, it was also a funding bill for some other shit. So that's why
that's not Republicans passed.
That wasn't a report on that one. Because the port that you're talking about, the rest of those Republicans did not disagree with that. It was a shared bill, and in the report, I know for
3602. I'm looking at 3602. That says
give me a second. I'm trying to
Qualified Immunity Act.
But I said my statement. Hamp, I appreciate you letting me on. I just wanted to come up because you was asking
to come up. Please, Diesel, don't do what Cheeky said. If you off duty and some shit going down, please help niggas.
Please, no,
okay. Help them at your own risk. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, if I got my family, I don't care if I got a gun on me or not. If I got my family, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, and that's what it said. If you with your family, I'm not. But Cheeky, I'm talking about if it going down at the Waffle House, help. Please, don't.
I ain't jumping in between them big backs. All right, them girls be swinging hard, boy. I ain't jumping in between them.
Well, you know, Miss Fantastic always told me she got to be 280 to get crazy. So I mean, Mr. Fantastic on that type of time, you can handle it.
Boy, y'all better be careful with Sherelle. She gonna be swinging too. Listen. Love you, Sherelle.
All right, these will be safe, bro. Damn, man. I don't know, man. It just, Cheek, I think I understand what you're saying, you know, and I think that it's right to make sure that they abide by the laws, rules, and their jurisdictions. We just know what's going on. So I think we just have to identify it because they handling this shit very hostile.
Right. They're not de-escalating. They're not doing any of the things that they're quote unquote supposed to do. Right. And because they're not doing those things, I agree to take a practical approach, which is, if you know these niggas don't give a fuck about anything, they don't care about their own policies and how they're supposed to do things, how they're not supposed to draw. If they don't care about none of that, then just steer away, right? That's the practical answer. But in actuality, what needs to happen is somebody needs to hold into account.
Cheeky, right? What's the way they're supposed to do it, though?
Yeah, no. If I have authority, I'm not finna back down. If I'm the person that's in fucking authority and you're gonna just blatantly try to disrespect me and physically harm me, fuck you. So you're not in position here.
If they have Mr. Fantastic and Willie Monset, then this will be the opportunity to go. Hey, no, according to this policy, here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go, well, according to this policy, you're supposed to de-escalate. Look at the two niggas that's talking right now, right?
But that's my thing, though.
In a functional way, I would agree with you, Hamp. Like, probably steer clear because at the end of the day, they got this mentality. But if it was more idealistic to, hey, they're supposed to de-escalate. Hey, they're supposed to do these things. Most of the stuff wouldn't be a problem if it was done according to policy. That's just
they're all working according to policy. They're meeting with
the fact that they're doing it in a way that we all acknowledge is aggressive.
You never answered the question that Will asked you. You never asked the question because listen, they are doing it within policy. How do you do something right when the people that you need to have cooperation with are in open opposition even before you implement anything. I mean, they're in open. If I tell my people in my state police force that I don't want you to deal with the guys coming to get the bad guys, whether they're just because they're illegal. What's the right way to do it when the people are in open opposition against you? What is the right way to do it? So you're gonna meet this resistance going in, and that's how it started. It didn't start smooth and ease into this thing right from the beginning. When Trump started sending the ICE officers into the states that were in opposition, there was immediate backlash and obstruction, immediate, and it just keeps getting worse and worse until this lady got killed.
So
right?
Cheeky,
and then the
So-
brother got killed. I just found out about that. So the point really is that it's no easy way to get the illegals out. And if we don't do it, man, we're doomed. There's a faction of Americans who think we should be the ashtray to the world.
So Cheeky, let me lay it out for you like this. You show up, your task, you need to go to location A. You and your team is going to location A. Y'all are going to do an investigation on person A. And y'all show up and y'all there to do your investigation on person A. And a whole bunch of American citizens gets out there and start harassing and attacking you and your team. Do you stop in your investigation to deal with the American citizens, or do you continue to pursue your investigation regardless of what the American citizens is doing? Cheeky.
All right, is this before or after I've already ruined my public perception?
We're not dealing with that part just yet. We're just dealing with the part
that matters. Like, it depends. If my public perception is one thing,
the current, it's the current one that exists.
Well then, you know what? It is what it is. But bed's been made, shit been in the toilet. I just gotta be asshole more. But yeah,
So the current public reception is muddied by political happenstance that's going against the president, saying that if y'all see ICE, then get in front of the illegals and stop ICE by any means necessary. Whether you got to bang on their windows, use a megaphone, if you got to shoot them with a silly string, if you got to corral around the person that they're investigating and you got to block them off to give them time to get away back to a safe zone that we're going to protect them away from so that ICE can't come in here. How do you go back to your supervisor and say, yeah, we couldn't get our job done because American citizens blocked us?
Yeah, you do. You just go back and then try again tomorrow. Because guess what? That's how shit works. You think every cop catch every bad guy they chase after? No. Guess what? Them niggas get away and you gotta try again. That's how, unfortunately, that's just how things work when you're a law officer. You don't always accomplish a goal or mission, but when you do start the goal, or when you do start something off and you do it wrong and you are treating people, whether it be illegal or legally, let's not talk about the legal citizens that reported ICE like, yo, these niggas was assholes. They just took me into detention, wasn't able to contact nobody. They didn't know out. Nobody knew out. So when you start adding in all of those things, then I can understand my perception or why I can't get something accomplished. And part of it is because of just my perceived look. Right? Now, it's the same thing that regular officers have to go with.
You said go back tomorrow, right? How far can you get within 24 hours if you got people blocking your way, right?
Okay, we'll go back the day after. Wait a week.
So wait. So you're gonna go back to location A numerous times.
No.
I'm just trying to wait, hold on. No, Cheeky, we working with Cheeky with this one. Respectfully. Cheeky, you're gonna keep going back to location A and they know you coming.
What about they know you coming, what else?
Then you wasting time.
Right. Go somewhere else.
Then that illegal alien is gone. That illegal alien is gone. If I know the police, wait. Hold on. If I know, go in there and get them. So if the feds is looking for me at location A, and they say, you know what, because it's 20 American citizens out here blocking us from getting Will, we're gonna come back tomorrow. Oh, they said they're gonna come back tomorrow, Will. Okay, you're right. So guess where I'm about to go? I'm about to go location B, C, D. I'm gonna go to any location that they not go be at. I'm gonna go everywhere they think I'm not going.
You're saying if they make it into a place that the officers or the ICE officer can't get into, like according to policy and law, What should they do? Go in there anywhere?
Oh no, I'm agreeing with you on that one. They should not go into any safe zones that they're not welcome. But you know what I would do? I would post all my officers and agents on the border of that safe zone and wait for them to come out.
And that's
now,
what, yeah.
Now,
if it weren't that, sure.
Now with that, here's the public perception. Oh, the ICE is being racist because they're waiting. How much public perception do you want? There's
it depends on how.
Okay, but
the issue is
my point of all of this
dealing with something that started and could have been prevented before. You can't be like, oh, I squeeze the toothpaste out. My perception is bad. Nobody wants to help. People are protesting, and now you're trying to put it back in by going, well, what am I supposed to do? Look,
so
it's
instead
done.
of questioning
Instead
of questioning the toothpaste, I should question the person who bought the toothpaste, right?
What? Say that again.
Instead of questioning the flavor or the color of the toothpaste, I should question the person who bought the toothpaste, right?
Yeah, you should question the person that squeezed the toothpaste out.
Absolutely. So then now, thank you for painting that picture. All of these politicians, all of these senators who accepted cash money for allowing these illegals into their states and their cities, they should be held accountable. And it's because of them and them protecting those illegals that ICE is even there in the first place.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not there. They're not there in the first place for that reason, right? You keep making it seem as if ICE just showed up or is there because someone else did that.
I'm only existing in the perception that you're creating. The perception that
I'm not dealing with you're making the person that squeezed the toothpaste out lawmakers. The person that squeezed the toothpaste out is ICE.
Are senators and congressmen not lawmakers?
Yes, they are, but you can have sanctuary cities. Those are legal, right?
Absolutely, but here's the thing.
Okay, so wait, hold on. So if we're just dealing with what's legal, they are allowed to have sanctuary cities, and if illegal immigrants are there and they're there technically legally because they're in sanctuary cities, then you can't do anything.
Got you. So now, if we're talking about public perception only, if I post all of my officers outside of your sanctuary city, how does it look for you to say, well, that's racist because he's doing it just outside of our sanctuary cities? Then you would be telling a lie, right?
What if I'll be telling a lie if I said you're posting your officers right outside the
No, that is
city?
racist. That is racist to do so.
No one's saying that is racist.
Everybody's saying it's racist. Everybody, all of the politicians, all of the sheriffs, they're saying that it's, you have black people saying that it's racist for ICE to go get illegal aliens. You have white people.
No, nobody's saying it's racist for ICE to go get illegal aliens. It's racist for you to just profile somebody because you think they're illegal and they're just Mexican.
But that's the perception. She cannot say that you're wrong, but that's the perception.
Okay, but listen to
what else they say. They
also just said. Listen to what you just said. No one thinks it's racist to grab illegal aliens. They think the process and how you do it is racist.
But you still haven't
introduced black people walking around. If you're just walking around and you're black and you get stopped and frisked, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck was that? That's racist."
I got a question. I got an important question. Cheeky, do you profile?
Yes.
All right then. So what are we talking about? Everybody.
I'm not an officer.
Oh, well, that's what
like,
you
know, you're absolutely.
I'm glad.
I'm glad you made the point.
I ain't saying that.
I am not an officer.
Let me counter, bro. Let me counter. I ain't saying no one of y'all was talking. Let y'all have the whole time. My point is this, Cheeky. That's a part of their job to fucking profile. A cop sees something suspicious. He suspects you of a crime. He investigates and detains if necessary, and then goes on to the situation.
So if somebody,
hold on. If I'm looking for illegal people, okay, and this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, Pedro, Juan, Maria, and whoever, he speaks Spanish, he has broken English, right? I mean, brother, what are we doing here? That's a part of
what if he don't? Okay, so great. So what if he doesn't have broken English, and he's a citizen?
Okay, and you know what, Cheeky? If he provides me with his fucking identification showing that he's supposed to be here, he goes on about his way.
Okay, what if you put him in the car, right? Take him to a location away from the place you picked him up, leave him there, and throw his stuff. Then what?
That ain't nothing new. Niggas have been going through that for years.
Hold on.
You see, wait.
I didn't say the answer. I don't even know what he said. You talking to me?
Now, well, niggas have been going. That's not right.
Talking to me. I didn't hear what he said. Let me respond. So, Cheeky, if that's the case and they illegally detain him It's up to him to motherfucking use the justice system to sue them, get paid for the fucking what's name and go on about his life. It's that simple.
Right. Okay. So now going back to the full thing, which is
Yeah.
public perception, and why you're not receiving any aid or help from one people or lawmakers that represent people, that makes sense to me. Nor is it illegal to do so. So now we're back to the thing. Well, now we're back to what's legal versus what's right, and everything that I've seen has been legal.
Well, hold on, you can't use that.
And if they done something illegal, take them to jail. It is
we've
what it
all
is.
accepted, though. We've all accepted. You can't use that argument because we've all accepted that police profile for a living. That's a part of fucking policing.
Okay, now racially profiling, does that change anything?
What you're saying is racial.
It is racial.
It's not racial. Hold on, let me tell you why it's not racial. It's not racial. It's criminal. If I'm looking for somebody that said, "Hey, I'm looking for a thief," they said he got on motherfucking all black. He had on a black shirt. He had on black pants. He had on black Air Force Ones. I come across a nigga that's got on all black. He fits that fucking crime. Just so happens the crime is being here illegally. So your race coincides with the fucking crime.
Yeah. So, but you got to say it's racial. Like even Miss Fantastic was crazy though. Right now, you were saying if the profile is he got on black Air Force Ones, black this, you said nigga once you found the nigga. So you even associated them clothes with black people, black man.
I'm saying nigga colloquially, whatever, white, whatever, everybody's niggas nowadays, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But Chinese boys make fake Air Force Ones. That's why you got to fold them, make sure they got the real bottom. But anyway, what I'm saying is this, Cheeky, at the end of the day, bro, if your race is a part of the profiling that has to be done in order to get the thing, that's just a part of the job. Sorry, it's baked in the cake for what you're looking for.
No, this is fantastic. You're saying it's racial and justifiably so.
Yes, it's justifiable because the race is a determining factor. So you can't say it's racial in a bad way.
Well, again, but that's the problem. Now we're assessing why somebody's saying that's racist, right? Because they're putting intent behind it. Okay. Yes, it's a part of the racial thing, but if we just admitted that a racial profile and all of that is part of the thing, you can't then be like, well, why is he calling somebody racist? Well, I'm looking at the things that's being presented. While you may go, it's justified because this is just what I'm looking for. I'm looking for illegal brown people. Somebody can go, how do I know you're looking for just illegal brown people and you just want to grab illegal brown people? Somebody can question that. That racism and racial whatever, that is an intent-based assessment. And if you disagree with it, then by all means, but you can't get mad at somebody about going, that's racist. And then you go, well, everything about it is racial.
But then everybody would be a racist. Yeah, everybody would be a racist then, right?
And that's what DJ Hemp says. And that's where we all will be like,
so then if it's a common factor that everybody is racist, then it can't be racism if the ICE is doing their job.
You can claim that. That doesn't mean that it's true.
No, so, there's a this we have to offer. There's a disparity in how they're enforcing it, right? I need to see more unattractive Ukrainian white girls being deported.
I need to see Ivanka Trump.
We're not seeing that enough. Yeah, and we need to see that. And that's where the racial component, Mr. Fantastic, starts to coincide with how Cheeky's understanding it. What you're saying makes sense, Mr. Fantastic, and then we have a disparity though regarding illegals, and now that's where the racism part sets in.
So, but hold on though, is it a disparity because of the numbers, because of the tens of millions of people that's estimated to be there? We know for a fact that they are not white, they are not European. It is safe to say that the majority of illegals here are people that are quote unquote brown or ethnic or whatever you want to say. Now, if you want to go towards that, cool, fine. But clearly, they don't have a high enough representation to be the full focus. And we've proven this with the detainees and the deportations and the areas and the things that you see. Chicago didn't have a Ukrainian problem; they had a fucking Venezuelan problem.
Okay, so the question is, why is it that the people that are pushing the propaganda, i.e., the U.S. immigration, whatever the case, why aren't they pushing deporting white Ukrainians? Why aren't they deporting? I don't know, whatever else there is. Why is it the big push?
I got you, because
if it's just about illegal immigrants, let's just deal with the illegal part and let's just go, hey, let's get these white Russian girls or Ukrainians out of here. But that's not the case.
I got you. And again, Tiki, I'm gonna say it again, because those are not the majority of the illegal people here, and we know that for a fact. The Ukrainians that came here, and they were allowed here because of Biden, and Biden gave them, I don't know if their time is still legal, but I don't know how long a visa or actual what you call it.
It's not a visa. It's the
temporary TPS.
Wait,
no, it's like specifically war.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. We look at the same word.
Y'all using acronyms.
So
Y'all using acronyms, and some people in the chat might not know what y'all saying.
No,
yeah, we looking for the same word where you're like not a refugee.
Refugee. No,
yeah.
I don't think it's refugee. It's something different. But
I
I know
thought it was
asylum seeker.
Asylum. There it is.
So that's what I'm saying. But we know for a fact, if your ass came from Ukraine, you were shipped here purposely for a deal because you're helping Ukraine. So if they overstay the visas, so on and so forth, they should be got the fuck up out of here too. My thing though is the vast majority of illegal immigrants that came here clearly of some ethnic descent, right? And that's why you're hitting these places the hardest. Also because they've had the highest criminal content and the highest criminal impact. Remember, the media lied to us and told us, oh, Venezuelans didn't take over an apartment complex in Colorado. That's a lie. What was it? True as fuck. It was true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying, bro.
What part? I'm sorry.
Colorado.
Yeah.
What about it? What did you say?
The
Venezuelans had took over Trinidad and
Nicaragua.
And the media lied to us, and because of the Trump thing, bro, you have this political game and this mainstream media game being played that's lying and posting out the most propaganda. This is why everything is so anti-fucking Trump, and that's the problem. It's anti-American. It's not even about Trump. You're willing to hurt and have a net negative for American citizens over politics, bro. That's bad business, Cheeky. That's all I'm saying. Nothing is gonna be perfect. I don't see something that's getting done. I still think for sure, and this is what bothers me. This is what bothers me on both sides. I ain't seen enough motherfucking Mexicans, Venezuelans, cans, whatever kind of cans and ants get their ass whooped. I'm still seeing niggas get beat up by the police on the regular. So I don't know why we have this bleeding heart for motherfuckers that shouldn't be here in the first place. They're being treated way better in the process of getting locked the fuck up. They get their whole due process or whatever, get a better deal, and still go end up Cheeky with a free ride back to their country.
Fantastic. There's a reason. You got to remember, in Florida, they let them protest on American soil, waving their flag saying fuck America, and there was American citizens out there with them doing the same thing, and they was protected until Trump sent the National Guard in there. And then everybody was just like, oh my God, this is so wrong. So y'all are perfectly okay with people who come from another country brazenly waving their flag on our country soil saying fuck our country, and y'all in agreement with this?
No, that shit, hey, cheap. I mean, also, I just, Cheek, the another thing though, right, that we've already conversed about is collateral damage. See, that's another outlook. Mr. Fantastic, even when we start talking about like the National Guard in DC, he understands that there's collateral damage for the greater good. And so people are accepting of acceptable loss, which includes loss of life. And so that I think that kind of coincides with this outlook. I'm just saying we know that's true. We know that shit feels, and I'm saying feels based on, like Mr. Fantastic is saying and Will saying, propaganda about Trump, that shit is top down. And black people were shooting on New Year's Eve, and a black man died in that particular instance by an off-duty ICE agent. And if we know that those people are being inserted in our areas, the sanctuary cities, correct me if I'm wrong, it said that a lot of the sanctuaries are in black are dominated areas.
Yeah.
It's
so
a minority. It's a hierarchy to it. The way that they do it is
hold on, not that. Right. I'm just saying, so when I'm assessing it, Cheek, if all these things are true, we got to look at this shit a little bit differently. So does it lend towards what you saying? Like, hey, they need to do this shit by the book so that people aren't hurt unnecessarily in the process.
Yes.
Or do we say, yo, stay, be vigilant? Because if people are being profiled, you can fit the description of a Dominican. Look at Mr. Fantastic right here, right now. Look how he look. Right? It could be him.
Me Cuban B.
Right? And so that's my concern, Chief. Like, what do we say? No, you guys need to go by the protocol. But if the protocol can be skirted, You know, how do we properly prepare for what may to come, considering we in such close proximity? That's my concern about this shit.
We gotta address the problem in the hierarchy. I'm sorry.
That is that I agree. That's the truth, right? So when things like this and ICE policies, officers are trained not to use race, ethnicity, or national origin as the only factor in enforcement decisions. Enforcement actions are supposed to be based on evidence of immigration violation, criminal history, or active warrant. The issue is the people that they're taking, they don't have an active warrant for, they don't have criminal history. Now you're asking. Now we have to ask these questions based off of their own policy. How is what they're doing going to work? But
does
again,
that include citizenship?
But again, Hamp, it goes back to your point. The practical thing is, nigga, fuck that policy. You look illegal. That's what I'm saying. And Hamp, that's my point. My point is, I'm in agreement. The practical or factual reality is,
come here.
None of that shit matters. But we should still hold them into account so that it does matter, right? The people that are breaking these things should be held in account. You shouldn't get away with murdering somebody, even if you're ICE or whatever. Whether you shouldn't get away with that.
No, I got you. Yo, you know who was this shit is like this is why everybody should play football, bro. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Every play, bro, I'm holding, grabbing. Every single play, it don't matter. Even if I don't got to, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. This is how they look at those rules.
So you and me a nigga in the nuts just to get it, and just because you can get away with it.
Yeah, he good. You gotta get him out of there.
All right. So, but my thing is, so here's the problem. We gotta address the hierarchy that's causing this problem, right? You have white liberal women who's being followed by black liberal women, who's being followed by black liberal men, who's being followed by white liberal men. That's causing all of this disruption, and they being influenced by what these politicians. You know, what's the funny thing throughout their whole entire government shutdown? Instead of them addressing what's actually with the problem, which was this whole Obamacare thing. Same thing going on right now with this Minnesota Somalian fraud. Instead of them addressing that, when we talking about public perception, the only thing they brought up was Trump and January 6th and Epstein files. Now they didn't got Epstein files, and no, everybody's quiet about it. I guess that's just because they just now seen that picture with Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker in there. But the biggest thing is they keep forgetting about the main goal. Y'all want to address Trump. Y'all not addressing the problem. The problem is that we have an illegal alien problem, which is umbrellaed by the immigration problem. If y'all wanted to fix immigration, then just fix immigration. Don't just let the people in and then want to fix immigration. That doesn't make any sense, because what you're doing is you're putting Americans at risk of being harmed or deleted just because y'all let these people in. And even furthermore, now y'all want to defend them from them getting deported because y'all want it done the right way, which I'm still looking for that answer. What is the right way to get an illegal person out the country?
By passing laws, especially ones that both Democrats and Republicans agreed on. That's
why
how.
do we need to pass a law?
What law has Donald Trump even presented to Congress? What has Donald Trump presented to Congress at any point of his term, this term, that would allow for immigration to go ahead and deal with the issues that are already being talked about? If Joe Biden says, hey, the issue that we're having when it comes to immigration is not having enough judges to go through these cases and determine whether or not these people should be deported or not, and he presents a law that both Republicans and Democrats agree on, but don't pass it because here, and I quote, I end up finding it, and I quote, Trump said right here, House Republicans are trying again to make Democratic colleagues and Republicans are largely in favor of the border bill, but several referred to the vote as a sham and admitted the bill will not pass the Senate, which Democrats control. House Republicans are trying again to make the Democrat colleagues and President Biden take this border crisis seriously. And then just two more sentences down, right? I don't mind reading the rest, but Trump says Washington State Democrats chair. Oh, I lost it. No. Here it is. But congressional Republicans walked away from it early this year at the urging of GOP presumptive presidential nominee Donald Trump, who was not supportive of the bill because he is centering his reelection campaign on immigration. If it's that serious and they found a bill where most Democrats and Republicans were wanting the bill to pass, and then you have President Trump saying, "Don't pass it because I'm running on immigration." That was the solution. We have yet to see a bill. We have yet to see a bill from him. We have yet to see any real legal, since we want to talk about the law, any legal brought forward by him at any point.
Why do we need to pass a law?
Not true.
Wait,
He
hold
closed the border without a new law. We have a law to protect the border already.
Why do we need to pass?
He got in office. Wait a minute, let me just say this because you guys keep talking around the whole issue. He
brought up a new issue.
As soon as he got in office, he closed the border. You didn't need a new law for that.
No, that's for the border. We talking about the people.
Hold on. That's the beginning. You got to stop the bleeding first.
Okay.
He stopped the bleeding, and now it's time to get these fucking people out of here. And he's found opposition from the beginning. And so when you have opposition, it's going to be consternation. There's no right way to fight somebody who's against you. So the ICE agents are following what Congress said that they could do. That's right. There's nothing new there. The laws are already on the books.
So
they're already there.
Oh, he must read a super chat. My bad.
Yeah, it's got a few, and then we're gonna do some final thoughts. I gotta go. And we'll be back this evening. But I think there's a lot of great information being provided on both sides. So that was good. So we gotta make some determinations though. That's for damn sure. Mike Brown with the $5 says Nazi police to ICE. Is there an equivalent given the autonomy given? So he's saying Nazi police to ICE.
I don't know if that was a question.
Are they an equivalent?
I don't know.
No, it's not an equivalent at all. Again, yeah, man.
It's ridiculous.
You can draw comparisons.
With the $2, keep grinding. Salute my G. Good to see you. You heard? James with the $5 if they bring back owning people, look like they're gonna be blacks enforcing it. Aaron with the $2 are all migrants under I or just melanated ones?
All migrants.
G Firm, what up, kid? Good to see you, man. I ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. Hope all is well, man. G Firm in the building with the $5. Big Hamp, long time no speak, my good brother. Love you, man. Love you too, B. Good to see you, man. Hope everything's everything, man. Glad you're still healthy and all that. You heard? Damn, man. I think I got a lot of information there to parse through and parse out. Will, what you think, Playboy? Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is to hell with all the illegals. They must go. I don't care what color, height, and or body shape you is. If you are in this country, you not have United States citizenship, you need to leave. We need a 10-year gap on people who trying to come into the country. That way they can learn our language and our culture before they get here. Because the problem is that while they're here now, they're causing too many problems and there's too many people defending it. They're saying that murder isn't a crime. They're saying that crossing the border isn't a crime. My final thought is that it's America first and America only. Simple as that.
Damn. Cheat.
Yeah, man. My stance is a lot of these people are political and not solution based. So there's a reason why you can have a bill both agreed upon by Republicans and Democrats, which we know that barely happens, but be totally denied for the sake of a running campaign point. So yes, I agree. Illegal immigrants should be deported from this country. Yes, I think illegal action should be followed with consequences. I just don't think they should stop because you're a local law enforcement or a federal enforcement agent who may not have the authority to enact whatever it is you're trying to do, with the exception of small details, right? So my stance is stop being biased, actually look into things, try to look at it from two angles instead of just one. I'm not liberal. If you know me, all y'all will be virgins, and none of these women have babies without being married. So if anything, if anybody's conservative, it's me, not you fuckheads that be fucking around all these fucking women. Yeah, you guys are fake conservatives, real liberal with that dick. Pause. I said pause. I said pause.
It's a fantastic.
Brother. I don't feel safe. Let Mr. Payne and come back to me after that one. God damn.
Let me go first. Listen, I agree with a lot of stuff that Will was saying. I haven't seen him before, but we need to reset here in America in terms of what it means to be an American. And two biggest things about immigration that we got to get straight. You want to be an American citizen, one, you have to assimilate, and two, you have to have some allegiance to this country. And I think that's going based on the people that we're bringing in, right? Some of those people don't understand what it means to be a people of the West. And I know Black people don't like to hear it, but we're Westerners, the ones that are here now. So I'm just saying, I'm just end it there. I like the idea of what the immigration guys are doing. I'll agree a little bit with Cheeky that maybe they need to draw some of these guys in, and we need to have investigations where we need to have investigations, like with the shootings and stuff like that. But in terms of the ICE doing their job, they're doing their job, and they have to do it over pretty much the dead bodies of all the people in these blue states. Man, and it's tough. It makes it tough. It makes it tough. So
you agree with him shooting the white girl? Because you wasn't here yesterday. I just want to get
No, I think he has some discretion. I don't necessarily think he had to fire. He got out of the way of the car. He got hit, but he got out of the way. And I believe that part of his trauma was that he got run down 2 months earlier. That shit was probably still fresh in his mind.
But you saying it wasn't justified to shoot her?
No, I think he'll get away with a justification even under.
What you think?
Yes, I don't think he's. I think he's justified in firing his gun because if he used the car as a missile, but I don't think he had to. I don't think he had to.
Okay.
The first shot he can justify. That second and third shot that might be hard to defend.
Yeah, definitely the third shot for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, interesting. Jarrell.
Wow. Hey y'all.
Yeah, you've been quiet so much.
Y'all had a good point. Y'all had a good stream. I learned a lot. RIP to that man. We look for things, but I think we all can admit that the police, they kind of break the rules a lot. And people are going to always have an issue with that because they're supposed to uphold the rules. So that's the case. But most times, like, people be criminals, right? So it's like if you know that people already don't like you, you probably shouldn't be a criminal. Because now they justified in doing anything to you. And they would do anything to you even if you wasn't a criminal and try to justify that. So they definitely going to justify if you are a criminal. So, yeah, that's it.
That's a good point. They want you. And now when you're a criminal, you give them a reason, huh? Damn, man. I don't know, man. That shit's interesting, man. My take is, you got these agents everywhere. They don't police how we want them to or expect them to. They are different from
policy wise. They don't do it by policy.
Mm-hmm. They do not act like the local police, right? And we hold them to task. Now we have these ICE officers, we don't know what their background is. I would assume, and this is speculating, that it's largely military. They're not yelling out the same commands as the local police do. So I just want us to be cognizant of this, because they are acting much differently and they're responding much differently. And they're not going to leave and come back. They marching through shit, as you can see. So I just want us to be very aware. Especially because we're in such close proximity to the largest populace that is illegal. So when we assessing this, let's make sure we make an honest and real assessment that could possibly or probably save you from harm's way. So that's my key takeaway from this. Anything else before we get out of here? Everybody good?
No, y'all have a good one. Y'all take it easy. God bless you.
Already, man. I see y'all tonight for the women's POV. I was having a few conversations. We had to talk about women in a social media. So that should be an interesting conversation. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be safe and do the right thing, man. I like your headscarf. Like, share, subscribe.
Tell a friend is a friend. And we out.
Yeah. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast, yeah. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. DJ HAMP about to go live again. So hit the likes, my friend, on your way in. First off, salute the chat. And to all new cousins, welcome back. Heard you searching for the real. Well, this is where it's at. The latest topics and panels and brother, don't get sent to the bathroom. We got all the stats, too, back to facts in the morning or the afternoon. Tuesday, women's POV, 2 Fridays, dance and jamming tune. It's a community of real, and we better than the world news. This might be risky. I hope you know.